Well, I think we can just be co-presenters. Um, I think we're
Cool.
live. How's it going, Victoria?
It's
I,
going great.
I hope our audio is good. I just always like to I don't know why I do this, but I don't think it really comes through on the mic, but I just always like to check on YouTube because I'm like super paranoid, as you can tell. Sometimes I get a little antsy, but yeah, we're going to talk with Victoria and later Parker, if all things work out, about the recent.
Yeah, Parker is at work right now and like doing a meeting with some
Yeah,
clients. So he hopefully will be able to join us later.
he's a busy boy. There's been so much
Yeah.
stuff going on. This one thing I just wanted to ask you about before I forget is it looks like we are live. Okay, great. Yeah, everything's working. That's wonderful for me. Did you happen to watch like any of that segment with Megan Kelly and Marie
Yeah.
Callahan?
I
What
listened to the whole thing. Yeah.
did you think of that?
Um, I thought it was interesting. I love listening to them talk. They do a lot of other stuff together. I
Yep.
think they're like old friends, so they have really good chemistry and they're super funny.
Yeah.
But I will say one thing about it was that Marie Callahan, as I like her a lot,
Yeah.
but she didn't update all her info. So there were these moments I was having where I was like, somewhat frustrated by that.
Yeah,
Like,
there wasn't really a whole lot going on there. I just wanted to say hi to a couple of folks, Joan and Christy in chat. If anybody has issues with the sound, I like almost was like freaking out because of my mic beforehand. So let us know if there's any issues with the audio, and we'll navigate it if possible. But yeah, they are like really funny, really mean, sometimes too over the top. That's kind of my opinion, but yeah.
do you mind if I close this window real
Oh yeah,
quick?
no, yeah, yeah.
The sun just right as we started, the sun lowered, and now it's
Yeah.
like in my eye.
Well, you're lucky
I
to
will be
have this
right back.
on. Oh, thanks, Christy. That like helps me like feel like things are going to be okay because it's just always something with the technical stuff. But yeah, that's kind of how I came onto this case was Maureen Callahan. And I think most people that are familiar with the Keys case will be familiar with Ms. Callahan. She's a fascinating lady, and I was just doing some reading about her. So I was thinking eventually about making a video about her. And I don't know if anybody's ever really made like a YouTube vid about her, but she worked at like Sassy magazine when she was 17. Do you ever read any of those kind of rags?
That's so funny.
Yeah.
She has like I don't know a lot about her background, but I watch like her show sometimes, her podcast, and she has like a wide range of interests
Yes.
and like there's a lot of commentary on all kinds of stuff. So I think I would love to watch you and her talk. I think that'd be really cool.
I have had so many things that I've thought about like that would be great. Joan, you're having trouble. She says you can hear me clearly, so hopefully maybe I can look into piping up Victoria's audio if there's a discrepancy. So anyway, we'll address that as possible. But yeah, she is like a sort of like a New York City gossip doyen, like somebody that knows everybody. She grew up a Long Island kid. She went to high school and grew up in Long Island. So to me, that gives her a certain flavor,
I know this is like a really weird comparison, but she kind of gives me like a Truman Capote vibe.
Yes.
You see what I mean? Because he was
yeah.
so into like the gossip columns. He was like obsessed with Audrey Hepburn, I think, and like he wrote In Cold Blood and did this dark, like massively successful like true crime book. But then his entire life is so like different than that.
Yeah.
Like not at all.
Wow, that's
So
a fascinating
she kind of
observation.
reminds me of that in a way.
Yeah.
But I like her a lot.
Sort of like trans-sexed Truman Capote. Yeah. Yeah, she's just like a really funny lady to listen to talk. And it's kind of amazing that she never did a talk show. Apparently hosted one until last year. She does a show called The Nerve, which is how I started following the Royals, by the way. Like I never did that before. Do you engage in royal watching?
So I have a little bit, but mainly because Meghan Markle is so fun to make fun of. Like and because she fits that interesting, like weird personality type that I'm so fascinated by. And I'm like, there's something wrong with this woman. Like she literally scares me she's like my worst nightmare. Like there's something about her that's not right. And
Mm.
so I went down this whole rabbit hole with her like a year or so ago. And yeah, she's an interesting character for sure.
I think one of the reasons why like so many people come to true crime is like they have somebody or like somehow connected to like a Meghan Markle type and like they want to understand it. Like I've heard so many people tell a similar version of that story. One thing I want to make sure that we set up though is like we are eventually going to talk about some Israel key stuff. You guys released like a whole trove of data. I don't know if we really like intro that properly because everything was kind of hectic, but such is life.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Do you feel like getting into keys, or do you want to just keep talking? I can talk about like there's so many things I want to know about, like from Maureen Callahan. Like I feel like she has the best idea of like what the terrorism angle is in the case. For example, in the Keys case, because she was the first person through the door on a lot of the freedom of information stuff. So I guess there is a connection there at least.
Yeah. I was curious about why, like she said that she still believes that um Marlene and Cassie Emerson were victims, and
Right.
that I thought that was strange because that was solved this past year.
Mm. It
So
was
they got the
attributed to
guy.
somebody else, or okay, yeah. Just to set up again, because Joan mentioned that it wasn't exactly clear. We're going to talk about Israel Keys, and there's been a couple of interesting developments in the case lately. If you're not aware, he was an Alaskan serial killer who's very mysterious and died in 2012, late 2012 in prison after being captured earlier that year. I think that's the timeline. But
Yeah.
he's still around in the news, sort of lingering a la a Jeffrey Epstein type thing because he's so strange. People still have a lot of questions. And so, one thing that happened that's very major that we were going to talk about because it involves Victoria and Parker is that you guys just decided to release a huge trove of Freedom of Information Act documents. Um, could maybe you just outline like what's in the document dump?
Okay, so that was kind of our like Christmas gift surprise. So this past week, we made all of the files that we have had on our site, crimeculturemedia.com, public. So even if you are like a free subscriber, you can access all of them. This is thousands of documents. So and they're from all these different agencies. So they're from the Anchorage Police Department, the Anchorage Department of Public Safety, the Texas Rangers or Texas Department of Public Safety. We have them from the Vermont Police Department, the FBI. So all these different agencies, like the files have been kind of spread out, which is why it's taken us so long to collect so many, but
Yes.
we've made them all public. And then we recently, this past week, also got, or I guess a week or so ago, got, with the help of Nina Waldman and Sarah Latshaw from Last Known Contact, we were able to secure the files on Key's prison, like his experience in prison and his death. So those are all of those like crazy cell photos that we released. So we got those from the Anchorage Department of Public Safety, and that includes a bunch of audio interviews, some PDF files, and photos. And all of those are free. So yeah, that was our big announcement to everybody, was that it's all available on our site.
Yeah. Chrissy's saying that she loves your channel. I love your channel too. It's like one of the first things I really hit on the key stuff. And like, I never would have learned as much as fast as I did if that place didn't exist. There's, I think like one thing that people might not totally grok about this, if they haven't had to interact with the freedom of information stuff, is just how much work it is. It tickles me to no end that like the little details of the Alaska public safety and police union, but like, what was that process like to like start filing Freedom of Information Act, and like maybe if you could just kind of outline that for people that might not know much about it, maybe that could help. I don't know.
Well, a lot of it to me is somewhat of like an educated guessing game,
Yes.
because I would think, hey, the Anchorage Correctional Complex, okay, so they're connected to the police department, right? Okay, so, but he wasn't arrested in Anchorage. Okay, so then that's Texas.
Yeah.
So then there's this little place in Texas, but then he moved federal. So there's like, you have
Yes.
to think of like, are you going to apply to like a state agency or a federal agency? Because then the FBI has different branches in every single state. So, and it's just that. It's like, I remember sitting down and writing every single possible agency in all of the states where the files could be. And then I just start checking off the list and going to their website and Googling like public records request, insert agency name, and going to their website and scrolling around and looking to see like, where can I do this? And then clicking public records and then like doing that. And like, sometimes you get emails back and it would be like, this doesn't exist. Sometimes you would never hear anything back. That's the FBI. And never, I think once, like
They
a
suck.
year after
The feds don't
applying
care.
for something, I got an email back or a letter from the FBI that was like, these are not available.
I dealt with
I
the
knew
FBI
they
for
were.
like a decade trying to get files from them, and they just don't. They're not responsive just in general, and you have to really like you get in lawsuits with the government asking for documents that can go on for eternity. It's just
That's what Marine did.
yes, it's insane. It's really frustrating because you can have the best laid plans like you just described. The fact that you were able to do that from scratch is kind of nuts. And it's just arbitrary whether or not the agency wants to get back to you. If they drag their feet, then you just kind of have to try to hold them to account. But it's the remedies are different in every state. It's or for every agency, even. It's maddening. The process is maddening. Is the best way to
And you
describe
never
it.
know what it's going to cost either.
Yes.
So it's all out of pocket. They could charge you $300. They could charge you $40. Like you never know. So you kind of have to be prepared for that. And then like with Vermont, this was so weird. I was like, just like most sites have like a portal that you log into, and then they'll upload your files once your payment's been through. Vermont, I had to like send a money order. I couldn't pay online. It was like two separate money orders. And then they emailed me a thumbnail, but they sent it in a regular envelope that wasn't padded. So when I got it, the envelope was completely empty. Like there was no thumbnail in it. So I had to take a picture of it, email them back and be like, I got nothing. And they were like, oh, sorry. And then they sent me back like one of those padded envelopes with the thumb drive. It took forever, man. I still have it. The little courier thumb drive that they sent me.
That's great.
So like, that's how I got those. And that was like, and then the big part is like, okay, once you get them, now you have to start going through them. And that can take weeks. That can take a really long time. So yeah. But I'm glad that you have like an understanding of that, because I think a lot of people like don't get the time sink that it is to just even obtain files and then release them. Like the amount of work it takes to just put them out is a lot.
You know, I wanted to say hi. I'm pretty sure, and I'm being hesitant here because I think last time I called you Marshall Dave, my eyesight's not so great, but I think it's Marshall Dove. I apologize. And yeah, I'm really flattered that you like the channel, and Victoria's as well, of course.
Yeah, thank you so much.
One thing I wanted to point out before I forget is that in the description of this stream, there's a link to the first post that has like a big chunk. I think pretty much all the materials are linked there. So if you guys want to go peruse this stuff, and I think we're going to go through some of it to give maybe sort of like a rough overview or guide, but it's an incredible trove of data if you're interested in the case. And actually one thing that's convenient for people that aren't as familiar with the process, I'll drop a link in the chat here as well, but it's in the description, Chrissy, is that it starts out with this interview with Ranger Stephen Rayburn, and in it, you guys discuss some like very pertinent details of the whole FOIA process. Like he at one point he talks about how he gave all of his stuff to the FBI, which is like one of those wrinkles we were just sort of talking about, where agencies have to pass evidence, and so you just never really know who ends up with what, and it's just a mess. So
Yeah, I
Martian.
mean, there's all these, he like describes all these photos and things that were taken of Keys. Like they were like, yeah, they took close-up photos of all his brands and like his hands, you know what I mean? And like weird
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I'm like, where was that? And he's like, I think the FBI has it. And the only reason that there was like this one interview with him and Keith, people got mad for
Mm.
whatever reason when we, not everybody, but there were I got another comment today about it. But when we released the files from the Rangers, the audio, there is no audio for the video,
Oh yeah.
and there's also no video for the audio. So like we have these two files that just, you know what I mean? Like
Mm.
it, well, in some of the video there is audio, but it's like air.
Hmm.
And then every now and then you can hear one of the people walk in and ask Keys like, hey, do you want a sandwich?
Right. Yeah.
Or something. Like it's not interesting, you know? So we just tried to line them up, but like Ranger Rayburn was telling us that he actually made his own recording on his own personal like
Yeah.
handheld recorder
How many cops
because
are going to do that? You know.
like their department so like basically never records stuff.
Yep.
So he got in the habit of making his own recordings, and that's the only reason that the Department of Public Safety even has the copy, because of him. So there's little things like that.
I mean, that's a
But
pretty big point though, because like the incentives don't really align for police to want to record stuff, and so they're not going to do a great job of it, and that's just what you end up with is crazy stuff. It's just, yeah, and it's the same thing goes for like every rung of the system. It's like not really in their best interest to make like great copies of stuff that people are going to want from them. You know, make them have to do more work, you know.
yeah, I mean, he told me that there was another interview that they did that's not in the files anywhere.
With Keys, like
And
in Texas.
yeah,
Wow.
they like went into there was nowhere to sit. Like there's no room to sit in. It was after they had transferred him from the main holding location to a new place where he waited to be extradited. And like they had to like take out folding chairs and set up folding chairs in a circle and sit with him in these little chairs. And like they that I still have not heard that interview that they do with him. It's not available anywhere.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think that like a lot of the people that like watch true crime stuff necessarily had the experience of like being in like a police bullpen for like a very busy facility, and it's just you know, it's just a real mass of humanity. Chrissy is commenting that she couldn't believe you were able to get those photos. Maybe I guess we could talk a little bit about the process of that. Like, wasn't it just one of those things that just sort of eventually rolled in after like a long time, or how did that go down?
So, you know, I first heard that those photos were available because I was wondering where to get them. I filed for them, but it was with the wrong agency.
Yeah.
So I never heard anything back. And then you remember that that podcast Somewhere in the Pines?
Yeah.
So Nina from Last Known Contact like did an interview with them. So she told me about them.
Hmm.
And then they were, I don't know where I think they're in Washington, but they somehow were able to go in person apparently and look at the pictures. And then they said and they said this was the FBI. So I'm confused about all of that because, you know, the Anchorage Department of Public Safety is where we got them from. But anyway, they said that they weren't allowed because of FOIA restrictions to publish the photos. So they had a painter, a friend of theirs who was a painter, they commissioned her to do a painting of his cell. So that's where I was like, okay, so first of all, these photos exist.
That's
Which
nuts.
I think we all already knew. And you can get access to them. So those are the two things that I knew. So then I just started trying to figure out like, where are they?
That's the crazy.
And so that's why I was confused on why they said that, because I was like, were they lying? Because like it's not a FOIA restriction. If you get released
Oh.
photos, like they're public then. So I don't know why they said that. We actually, after we received all the photos, we have gone back and edited our ebook and our documentary to reflect the new files. So those are in the documentary now, if for anyone rewatching it or watching it for the first time.
Yeah.
But so that was weird. And yeah, so then like after seeing that painting, like over a year went by and I still hadn't heard anything about it. And then Nina told me that someone on like Reddit had like posted a couple pictures of the cell.
Nina from Last Known Contact, the website that features the amazing timeline.
And so I was like, okay, so they are available. And then her and Sarah, they created the site together, told me they sent me like a couple files and like basically were like, these are from the Department of Public Safety, not the Anchorage Police Department. So then I went and filed with them. And this was the quickest turnaround that I've ever got on files. Like they got back, they were pretty quick getting back to me. Anyway, so that whole process probably took like a year and a half from like trying to figure out how to get them. Yeah, so it's a lot. Like you can't give up. If you don't get something, you need to keep asking for it, is what I've learned.
Yeah, squeaky wheel gets the grease. I mean, that really is how it goes in that world, you know, because you know, you just get knocked down like over and over again as a matter of course, basically. Yeah. It's unreal.
Yeah, so yeah. I don't know, but they definitely left stuff out. Like you can see in the numbering of the images that they're skip numbers. And I think what they left out are like full images of Key's body. Like they skip numbers to like a close-up tag of the body bag, and like they crop out his, you can see like his head or his bloody hand in one photo, but like they're not going to show that. So
it's very much like like a web of associations, because like with each new document you get, you're building sort of like a picture of what else might be out there. And yeah, and it's such a difficult there's people that I interviewed a guy that did FOIA stuff against the federal government like years ago, and it's like you have to really be a detail oriented person, to say the least, you know.
And the way that you write it, like you can't just be like, what up, this is what I want. Like you have to like write it in a certain way.
Playing like a game of whack-a-mole where you have to say like the exact thing that you want from the exact right place. Like it's such a, I hate the way that it's set up. And
I got to a point.
Let's go for it. Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No, I've bin this stuff is like, yeah, please.
It is like a game of whack-a-mole pretty much.
Yeah. I definitely want to hear what you have to say, because I'm just going to be being angry about FOIA for no reason. So please.
Well, no, it just got to a point where I like had a little like collage of Key's screenshots on my desktop from FBI files, from like different files, and like his ID photo, and like it showed like, okay, it lists his birthday, social security number, the case number, the FBI number, his identifier number in prison. Like it was basically that. And I just kept it on my desktop because every single time I had to file for something, I would click that, pull it up, and then have to retype in the information, because you have to have like very specific, if you don't know like the case number,
right,
then like they're not gonna do the work for you. They're not going to make it easy for you. So, yeah. And then a problem arose where you're filing for like state records, but the case number is the FBI number. So then you're like, like it's annoying.
And some states make you jump through extra hoops if you're a non-resident and that sort of thing. So sometimes you have to find like a proxy, or just, I remember, I don't know if that still goes on, but the states have such varied laws. And I actually think this is why like the whole Florida man thing exists, because Florida has the most open records laws. And so you always see their cases. but other
That's so
states,
funny.
yeah, have, I think that's maybe why they have a PR problem. So I don't know. Maybe that
What's
also
your like overall experience filing
just
for stuff?
well, like I started out totally naive to it because we didn't deal with federal stuff very much, but I happened upon a case from the early 80s in my hometown where I'm at now in Juneau, where a couple got murdered downtown. And Alaska didn't have a crime lab back then, so the FBI was involved. And that's when I learned about FOIA. And so, through the FOIA stuff, we learned that there was a whole Office of the Inspector General report into the flaws with all sorts of different forensic sciences, but specifically hair and fiber. And so that was like my life for like years. It was, just like, because there's tens of thousands of those cases, right? So there's like spreadsheets full of them. And then you're trying to figure out, like, did they even get back? Like, because in a cold case like that, if there's some kind of like real big issue with the evidence that's found, like they're supposed to tell the defendant or their attorney. Otherwise, it's what's referred to as a Brady violation. They didn't turn over, like, possibly exculpatory stuff. So yeah, that kind of stuff is a real web. It's on different, the stuff that you're doing is so granular that I think you would be able to do what I'm talking about very easily. So, but it's just the scale of it so massive, and there's a lot of wreckage in the wake of it. So
do you watch Breaking Bad? Did you watch it?
I've seen it. Yeah, definitely. But I don't think I've seen like the whole series or anything. Yeah.
Do you remember the magnet scene in the evidence locker?
I don't know.
They were trying to get a piece of evidence so that they wouldn't get caught. And they use a giant magnet in a truck, like all these magnets piled up, and they drive it next to like the wall of the like police station where the evidence is, and like it ruins all of the digital evidence in the police log. It was just funny. But like as I was filing for stuff, I was just like imagining that, and I was just like, there has to be an easier way, like magnets, like I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely tedious. It's very it's hard.
Yeah. This is actually an interesting question because if you Google Keys, there's like two photos of him. There's like a couple, like a mugshot and the photo with him in the jacket. I mean, there's probably others out there, but like I've seen other ones like from video stills. But JMass 8895 was asking, are there any home videos of Keys out there, social media photos? I know you've unearthed some interesting stuff, so maybe you have
I have not seen any home videos of him, and I feel like that'd be really interesting because when you see him, like videos of him, his face seems to like change. So I'm like, what does his face really look like when he's like up close, just like being a normal person, not in a police interview, not getting his mugshot? You know what I mean? Like, and there are some photos out there like him and the dogs or him and Kimberly that we found.
What I'm thinking about is it was a fairly recent post on Crime Cult where you found an old photo of him from he had a website for like his remodeling business, and that was a pretty interesting photo, although not like a good photo. It was old digital or something. So
yeah, that was interesting. I just use like the Wayback Machine for his website. I'm obsessed with that.
I love the Wayback
I've spent so much time on the Wayback Machine. It's
Wayback
like the best thing ever.
It caches like old versions of websites like at random times, so you can find just the most incredible stuff. It used to be like even better resource because you could just borrow like all sorts of books. You still can, but like it used to just be like a wealth of stuff. Like you could just find anything for free basically. But yeah.
I think the first time I read Mindhunter, I found it on the Wayback. It was on the Internet Archives for free.
Yeah.
I was like, that's actually like, I don't like torrent stuff. My first go-to if I'm looking for a book or something, I'm like, let's check the Internet Archives. Because if it's old enough, it might just be on there.
Sure.
Like, for free.
Yeah.
So that's the first place that I read it.
Like a video on Patsy Ramsey, and there was stuff on there that like I couldn't even find. It was hard to find like a copy to purchase in like a hard copy because like her friend wrote a book about growing up in like Virginia, what after the Rams, it's like stuff like that. That's like, like local weird stuff. That's really
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Like, it just takes one person to decide to put it up there, and it's saved forever. You cannot get rid of it.
Yeah. It's really quite amazing. Although, what's weird is I was looking into Wendy Adelson. You ever follow the Dan Markel case at all? The Florida State law professor? No, God, you'd be interested in that case because it's a whole web. But
I'll go read about it.
yeah, his wife and him were both law professors. Being lawyers, they had a very acrimonious divorce, and
I bet.
yeah, and her family, like two of her family members, Wendy's family members, are now in prison for hiring hitmen to kill Markel. And there's been like a series of like 5 trials about this case. Anyway, Wendy had a website at one point, and I tried to find it, and it wasn't there. And she even anyway, it's a whole thing, but it made me wonder if you maybe can pay to get stuff off there, because I was like, where is it?
I think you might be able to, but it's like a whole process. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I was
I use it a lot for I also try to use like archival like Google Earth stuff. Like, you can go onto Google Earth and change the dates. So that's how I found some things. And like, or I would go to like, oh, Keys was at this hotel. So I'd go to the hotel website and then put it all the way back. Like when he was in Israel and Tel Aviv, I had to go to the Hilton Hotel's website in Jerusalem on the way back machine from those dates. And that's the only way I even got images of like what his hotel room might have looked like then. Because that's another thing, making a documentary is like, you need as many visual elements as possible. And our budget was like whatever we could afford. Sure. So I tried really hard to find the best possible like images that made sense. So
something I wanted to mention earlier is like, you really get the impression from watching your stuff that like you just put a lot of care and attention to detail in it. Like, I was just thinking about the way that you married the video feed and the audio feed for the text stuff together, and just little things like that. Like, you just, I don't know, you care about it. But somebody was asking, and it's something I wanted to ask as well, because we talked briefly about the book that you wrote, and I was actually looking for a copy of it, but maybe
I'll email it to you.
Chat. But yeah, what other cases interest you, Victoria? DBFRFR wants to know.
I got really into the Black Dahlia case.
Oh. That's in the news.
Yeah. But people get mad.
Yeah.
Like, I got arguments on the internet with strangers because everyone has like their own theory on that. And I really, really think that it's Dr. Hodel. I like so strongly believe that after like delving into it.
Maybe we could skip you out into that real quick, because his son wrote a book accusing his father, Dr. Hodel, of murdering the dolly. Is that correct? I'm not super familiar, but a little bit.
Yeah. Well, the reason I think it's him is because I'm such an evidence-based person. Like, if the evidence leads somewhere, that's where I'll be. I don't like conspiracy theories. I don't like theories. I just don't. They don't interest me. So like, I really Dr. Hodel is the only person whose house was actually bugged by the LAPD. And in the in the released documents, like the transcript from them bugging his house about Elizabeth Short's murder, he talks about her.
Right.
Like, it's weird. And then there are receipts to like certain specific sandbags that were found near the crime scene that people think were moved. There's a receipt of him buying sandbags the week before, like the exact same kind.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? And there's also like, there's audio, or there was audio from his house. And part of the transcript too is you hear a woman screaming, a different woman. And like, when they were bugging his house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's weird. And there were also multiple interviews that the LAPD did. And I know the LAPD is super sketchy, but there were multiple interviews the part of the reason is because there was the LAPD's like gangster squad
Right.
that like
LA Confidential.
essentially,
Yeah.
yeah. So Dr. Hodel did like illegal abortions
Oh man.
and
Yeah.
basically would pay off the LAPD to not arrest him. So they had a little like they knew each other, they were taking payoffs, so why would they, you know? There's also evidence that he killed two other women who worked for him. Um,
Why do
like
people doubt this? I don't
he was
know.
a doctor, like there's a lot of stuff. So like I really genuinely think that he killed Elizabeth Short.
Yeah, I think
I
that's a
really do.
pretty good. It's a pretty good précis there for a
It's also weird
indictment.
that like he moved to the Philippines after
Boy,
um, the Black Dahlia was killed.
this guy
And
sounds like a real jerk.
In the Philippines, there was someone who was murdered the same way Elizabeth Short was murdered in the area he moved to
Yeah.
after when he moved there. I was like, that's not a coincidence.
Mm.
That's weird. And it's the Philippines, so like I
Yeah.
think in the Keys case, he mentions living overseas and what you can get away with. I certainly grew up in the Middle East and like
Oh
just
yeah.
witnessed things that like people
Yeah.
can get away with, even though the laws are much stricter. It's also like
Mm.
it's
Yeah.
very classist and it's kind of like I don't know how to describe it, but you could definitely get away with certain things there if you're a wealthy expat.
There's
You
a
know what I
culture
mean?
of bribery, maybe sometimes, like where you can pay off local officials type thing.
Yeah.
Harley had
I
like a really. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I want to finish this up because this is good stuff.
Oh, sorry. No, I just there was this story. Did we talk about this last time? I'm having like a deja vu thing.
Mm.
I don't know. But there was this story an old friend told me from Turkey, and he was in Turkey and just talking about like what he witnessed there. And I saw similar things happen living in like Egypt and Jordan, but there's this young police officer, and he pulls over this guy for like drinking and driving, and the guy hands him money. And the
Mm.
police officer says he's not going to take it because that's a
Mm.
bribe. And his superior comes over and smacks him on the back of the head and tells him he's a fucking idiot and then takes the money
Right.
and lets the guy go. So it's like, he's like, that's not how we do things here. Okay. You take the money. Like, so
Yeah, you don't want to be
yeah.
the Boy Scout or whatever, because then other people are gonna think that you're gonna rat on them or whatever.
And the
This,
Hodel stuff was happening in like the 50s. So it's even worse back then.
yeah, it was just such a cesspit, and I heard like a guy who's like apparently like the main Hodel critic, and essentially his rationale for why it wasn't Hodel was that it wasn't as bad as the portrayals that you see in films like LA Confidential, which to me is not a very convincing argument. Um, I just want to mention this because it's interesting. I was just thinking about this. Harley Quinzel mentioned that he's just not been talked enough about, and just commenting, he's incredibly smart and wondering how many others are out there like him. And I was just reading a passage in Callahan's book American Predator, where she's talking to Roy Hazelwood, and Hazelwood had predicted back in like 2001 that there was going to be like a lot more sexual sadist killers, but he also said that he thought the FBI was covering this kind of stuff up. Like, do you know anything more about the context of that, or that I need to look more into that? It's like, do you think there are more keys out there, or what? I don't know. Any thoughts on
I
that?
feel like um the the statistic I heard was that there was an average of one active serial killer per state,
Hmm.
something like that. And I don't know if that's accurate or not. I
Hmm.
really don't. Like, how do you come up with that? But I do think that the FBI having such a huge oversight on crime statistics in America, they
Yeah.
could probably pinpoint where are there criminal similar crimes occurring in the similar region. But the thing is with like Keys is the traveling aspect, because there
Yes.
could very well be people like him, but the biggest thing
Ooh, that's a good point.
is the traveling. Because like how do you know, like you could statistically, if there what if there's no body and the person's traveling, Like,
Yeah.
how do you even begin to detect that? I don't know. I don't think you can. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's how do you know? Like, how do we even know?
I feel like I mentioned this website like pretty much like every other stream, but there's a really fun website called Murder Data. Not fun, fun's the wrong word, murderdata.org. It's called the Murder Accountability Project, and they have like a database where you can try to find uncaught serial killers. But they have really interesting reports as well about why clearance rates for murders have been going down. But that really kind of blows that out of the water because yeah. And the other thing is like, maybe the context for what serial killers do is change. Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting stuff to talk about there. Yeah, I'm just really interested in the whole idea of serial killers because they seem very peculiar. Uh, I don't
Yeah,
know.
they're so like weird. Like I can't even imagine like you not only have to want to do that stuff, but then you actually plan it out and do it. Like it's just so like their brain just doesn't even it's hard to even comprehend how a person's brain could work like that. And then they do it and then they have to get rid of the body and there's no like remorse over it. Like I just it's mind-blowing. It's literally mind-blowing. Like sometimes I get a headache thinking about this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not even kidding. Though there are some people like Jeffrey Dahmer talked about how the worst part for him was getting rid of the bodies and he would have to get like really drunk.
Yes. Oh man.
So I'm like, I don't know if that's because it's like literally disgusting and
Sometimes,
just like
sorry.
stomach churning,
Yeah.
or like if he didn't like doing it, like it bothered him emotionally.
I think sometimes like my affect seems off because I'm like laughing about stuff like this, but it's just because we listened to an interview with the detective Patrick Kennedy like a few weeks back, and he told essentially that story. And I don't know, Dahmer to me is like a lot more understandable than the Keys in some ways because Dahmer, I guess maybe it's because Kennedy sort of got to know him very well and basically described him as like a pathetic guy that couldn't get a date, couldn't admit to himself that he was homosexual. There's also a really great graphic novel, if anybody's into those, called My Friend Dahmer by a guy named Durf Back Durf. It's really great though. It's really worth checking out because he actually
Oh, wow.
did go to like middle school with Dahmer, so it's an interesting
Interesting.
portrayal. Yeah,
I've heard of My Friend Dahmer. I thought there was like a movie.
I think it was based on
Isn't it
the
like
graphic novel.
Gus
Yeah.
Van Sant? Oh wait, I'm thinking
No,
of
that's
something else.
My Private Idaho. I think is about the Columbine killers. Is that what you're referring to? I'm a big Gus Van Sant fan because he used a lot of Elliott Smith music, which we
Yeah,
touched
I
on.
love Gus.
Yeah,
I think I'm confusing it because he did um
yeah, he did it. Another one
what am
too.
I thinking of?
Yeah,
I don't know.
oh, yeah. He's an interesting director, but totally far afield. I feel like we're like, well, I guess we're just. That's one thing I really love about the chat is it adds this like emergent property where you just kind of take a left.
No,
It's
I'm
great.
thinking of Elephant.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah. So
yeah,
not
okay.
yeah. So not Jeffrey Dahmer, just another blonde psychotic kid.
A lot of really bleak movies in the '90s. Yeah.
Yeah. I think probably my favorite Gus Van Sant is it called Last Days? What was the Kurt Cobain one? Last
Yeah,
Days?
yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's been a
That
while
was good.
since I've seen that one.
Yeah, it's been like years since I like I don't know.
It's kind of surreal. Just
It'd
sort
be
of
interesting to do like a Keys styled film. So, similar.
like with him as the protagonist, or like him as just like a character in it, or what did you have in mind? Maybe we can work up a little script here. This chat is amazing. So
Yeah, like I don't know. I never want to glorify serial killers, but at the
yeah,
same time, I think they're fascinating. So I don't know. It's a hard line to walk for
yeah,
sure. And then if
yeah,
you're making a movie, like it needs to be entertaining.
sure,
So, and you have to make it like it's about an incredibly evil mind. So, what angle is it from? Is it like an FBI type angle? Is it from, you know what I mean? So
Actually,
I've thought about this. There's like a bunch of different ways to do it. Someone apparently actually wrote a key script and like uploaded it on like some website. I remember reading it like a couple years ago.
wow.
It wasn't good, but Keys wrote a movie script
I did not.
and the
I'm.
FBI has it and won't release it.
Oh, what?
He literally wrote a movie script. I'm like, I know people like get on to me about like laughing, but
Yeah.
like I'm just awkward. Okay. Like sometimes I have a dark sense of humor. Shit's funny. Like it's weird that a serial killer wrote a movie script and we
Yes.
all want to read it because I'm sure it's like a laugh fest. Like I want to read it.
Yeah, he doesn't come off as like particularly a literary character, given that his
He
favorite book was
doesn't.
Mindhunter. It's not very
Yeah.
well. Anyway, yeah, God.
But that he's not the only one. Last time we did a live stream, we talked about Gary Michael Hilton.
Yes.
He worked on a movie script and helped a filmmaker in Georgia make a movie.
Huh.
Um,
There's a real weird underbelly to the film industry. Like the Wonderland Murders is the other one that I think of. I guess it was involving
oh
the
my
porn industry.
God.
Yeah,
Wow. Dude, I haven't watched that forever. Was
yeah.
that
There's a
those were
recent
crazy crime
interview.
scene photos.
Yeah, there's a recent interview with Van Lang, the detective that was also involved in the OJ case, and he was involved. He was like one of the first cops on the scene there in the Wonderland stuff in the early '80s, I think, in L.A. involving famous porn actor. I can't remember his name. Man, there's so many great questions here in the chat, so I'm just like kind of paging through, checking in, making sure that we're
Oh
taking a
yeah,
look.
did you guys want to get into any like keys evidence stuff or
Yeah, if anybody's
what are
thinking,
the I can't see the questions.
oh, let me pop up the oh, you can't. They should be available for you, but I can
Maybe it's on my end. I need to fix it. I don't know. I
let
can't
me
see.
change the format so that we can also look at the stuff from crime culture. There we go. Because I think one thing we were thinking
I
about
fixed
doing.
it. I can see
Oh,
them.
great,
Sorry.
great, great. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
tucked away. It's weird. There's two different chats, so it's confusing. I think we talked about we barely touched on the Stephen Rayburn stuff. And one thing that I noticed there is like you guys were like so attuned to the stuff that your community was asking for, and he almost seemed like surprised or impressed that you're so specific. Must have been from your FOIA training, I'm guessing.
I don't know. I think Rayburn has like a really high standard and he didn't we tried really hard to get to do a video interview with him like
Mhm.
this. Like we
Yep.
wanted to do a stream with him or even just like upload a video after the fact. And he, I think, was very particular about his image and
Yep.
he would only do he wouldn't even do a audio interview. He did it over text.
Mm.
I remember it was like 10 or 11 p.m. and I got a text back from him and I was so tired. I was like, I'm gonna go to sleep. And he was like, well, let's just do the interview. And I was like, oh,
Mm.
okay. Should I call you? And he's like, we could just do it through text. And I was like, oh. So that it literally I went to sleep at like 4 a.m. Like it was so
Wow.
but that's how we wanted to do it. Wait, did I answer your question? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
no, you did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just noticed we got a
But
$20 super chat. That's
he's
awesome.
a very cool guy.
Yeah, I don't think I gotten a super chat before, so I'm not sure. That's amazing. Richard Bradley really wants to know what is the prevailing theory as to why Key's FBI files are still sealed. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that because I am puzzled myself, Victoria.
I try to think like why files are sealed based on what they have released. So, based on what they've released, there's a lot of ruled out victims' names. There's a lot of copies of photos. There's a lot of stuff that we already kind of know. Um, so I try to think like what on earth is really like worth not releasing, because the case isn't even like who's still working on it. Like,
Yeah.
is the FBI actually actively working on a serial killer case where the guy is dead and can't give them more information? So, like, my only guess is the main reason stuff gets redacted is because it's personally identifying or because it impacts an active case. So if I think they're claiming that it's still active. So there could be, you know, other leads that they had on other victims.
Sure.
I don't know. I think that if the FBI really knew that knew Key's other victims, they would work to solve that and that information would be out. Like I cannot imagine them knowing names of other victims for certain. Like they certainly know this. And then
Mm.
they're not for years, they're just not giving the family closure. Like it's not part of the public record. They're not like why wouldn't they, you know?
What about
Um
Callahan's? She raised the issue that there may be a terrorism angle. Do you think that's valid, or is that maybe just a pretext?
No, I think that's valid. I think I mean, he was interested in making pipe bombs and he grew up, his white supremacist background with
Yeah.
the Timothy
Ego brothers,
McVeigh kind of character. I'm
egos.
like, and even reading his uh people call it a suicide note, but I really think that it was just some like of his random writings. Like I think he wrote a lot in prison. That's another thing. There are letters that he wrote to his family. There's a screenplay. There's all kinds of other stuff the FBI won't release probably because it was written to family members
Right.
and they don't want to release it or because it's private writings or because like I don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't release a screenplay. That doesn't make sense to me. But
Maybe it involved the whole terrorism thing. I don't know. Yeah, that's
yeah, I
interesting.
don't know. The terrorism stuff's so interesting because I really would not put that past Keys, but at the same time, like I think his major interest was like his sexual sadism and
Right.
getting people to hurt. So I'm thinking like if he did commit an act, well, I mean, think about like burning a house down and robbing a bank. That's an act of terrorism.
Yeah,
So he
he's
really was a terrorist. I
not.
think that if he like set a bomb off in the bank or something, people would be like, "Oh, terrorist." But like because the way he did it wasn't like the way we think of like a terrorist,
Hmm.
then he I don't know, wasn't isn't like conventionally classified as one, but I would say that starting a massive fire in a small town, burning
Yeah.
an entire house down so that you can go like rob a bank, like that's terrorism for sure. I think.
Yeah, I mean, in the truest sense of the word. And I think the thing that's really weird about the whole terrorism angle is that I never really cared about conspiracy stuff either. It's always the way this starts. But um, the whole FBI hair and fiber thing led me directly into that complex of stuff involving the white nationalist Oklahoma City PatCon, is what it's referred to collectively, involving Ruby Ridge, because it was all the same uh, groups in the FBI that were involved in all this stuff. Like the lab guys were involved in all of those cases. So it's
Yeah.
just they kicked up this weird hornet's nest of I don't know. I don't really even know what to make of it, but I just know that like a lot of people were really pissed off at the federal government for very sort of inscrutable reasons. Although I mean, a lot of it was tied to these incidents. I don't know. It's just so strange. It's like such a weird era of the Clinton years. Very strange.
Yeah. How old was Keys when he died again? 32, 36?
1975, I believe, something like that. So 36, I think. 2012,
Um,
37, maybe
yeah. So I'm thinking like when he was like 18, 19, goes into the military,
around
his
2000.
military buddies said that he talked about Ruby Ridge. Like he was interested in this stuff. He was talking about it. He had that weird white supremacist background. He was talking about like weird race shit, like having pictures of like black Playboy models or whatever, or I don't know exactly what it was, but on his wall, and then talking about how he wanted to like impregnate more black women so that like I don't know, there would be more white genes out there in other races or something. Like he had weird fucking ideas of stuff like this at that time.
Yeah.
And I really think that like the proximity between his weird upbringing
Yes.
and then going into the military and like knowing these like white supremacist guys who were like running guns and like also were connected to a murder, and then like the Timothy McVeigh stuff. I don't think he ever met Timothy McVeigh. I just think that's the proximity.
No. Yeah.
So he's interested in Ruby Ridge. He has this white supremacist stuff. He has like these weird ideas, but then and like he's making pipe bombs. Like people at Nia Bay were talking about how he would make pipe bombs and like blow stuff up because there's nothing to do on the reservation, and that was actually considered like kind of normal. So
Yeah.
I feel like he found a place where he could operate, one in the military where he had a license to kill, and he's with a bunch of other 18, 19-year-old men who are like all this testosterone and youth and like rage. So that stuff's normal.
Yep.
And then you're on a reservation where there's not a lot to do, and like alcoholism and like drinking and blowing stuff up is also kind of normal. So he can like fit in. But then you take a person and you compare them from like 18, 19, 20 to like your early to mid 30s. I think the terrorism aspect may have like fallen off more. I think he was like more became like the lone wolf type where he was just interested in like the serial killing stuff. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah. No.
So yeah,
100%. I
I
mean, I
don't
kind of
know.
knew a lot of people like that were, because Alaska is a real big zone for a lot of the people that are involved in all these weird things like sovereign citizens and nationalist stuff. More if it's up north than where I am, but like, I was going to say, like, it was just kind of in the ether back then, a lot of weird stuff. Yeah, Alaska has
Yeah,
its own
I mean,
movement called the Alaska Independence Party, and Sarah Palin and her husband were actually members of it. And there's like a controversy when she ran for vice president because we have our own like party here in Alaska that wants to secede from the union for whatever reason. So it's good stuff.
interesting. Alaska is like kind of like Texas in that way.
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a
Alaska is
weird.
such a cool place, but I agree. Like, I mean, Maureen Callahan mentioned this in her Megyn Kelly interview. She was like, there's a lot of weird people who move up there to get away.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've interacted with a lot of them, Leo. I'm sure you'll be like, there's something wrong about that guy. Like,
it's so true. But it was more in the 80s and 70s and 80s that was true than now. I mean, it is. I'm sure it has to be to a great extent now, but in the 70s and 80s, like you could come up here like not knowing anybody and go to work like on the pipeline or fishing or something like that and make real money. And anyway, it was a really weird time, to be honest. Which is one of the reasons why I was so drawn to all these weird cases from the 80s in Alaska involving the FBI, is because like the whole time period is just jumps off the page. Like you open up an old newspaper, there's just crazy stuff happening every day, and it gets documented, which is one of the things that's weird about this era that we're currently in, is that it's going to be pretty atomized to try to pull back together if you're a historian down the road.
interesting.
So yeah, we touched on Stephen Rayburn. I don't know if he had much more to say about him. One thing I thought was really funny is that he was super offended that Maureen Callahan said he had a 10-gallon hat when it was some other variety of cowboy hat.
He said he didn't like the way that she described him. He said he liked her and he didn't mean anything bad towards her work because he thought she was a good writer, but that he really wasn't fan of the way that she wrote about him and his starched pants,
Yeah.
and he didn't like that. So he wanted to like read what we wrote ahead of time
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that it was like he was okay with it. Yeah, he was very particular. I think I mean, I guess I don't blame him, because to get to the level that he's at, very detail oriented, and I
Yeah.
think he probably just like, I don't know. It's a personality type thing. I don't blame him
Yeah.
for that.
No, I mean, it's understandable, I guess, if he felt like he got burned by Callahan, especially because that book got it was a pretty big bestseller, I guess.
Yeah. Why is
So
my
just going-
lighting so bad? You guys can't see this, but there's a huge light above me that I set up, and it's still bad. Like I need a webcam. I'm sorry. I apologize. I will be getting a webcam. So when we do this in the future, it's gonna look better.
I bought like studio lights and I tried to use them and I can't figure it out. So I'm just like, yeah, all right, great. Um, yeah, there's so many
One thing
other like,
about that I
yeah,
oh, sorry.
please, 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 please.
The Ranger Rayburn stuff that I thought was so interesting was him talking about arresting Keys and how they had essentially
Yes,
driven they had like dozens, I think over 100 probably people looking for him
right.
like for over 24 hours leading up to his arrest. And the night before, they had a guy pull in. He said he like changed out of his clothes so he didn't look like an officer. And he literally pulled in to the hotel Keys was at, parked, saw Keys' car, was looking at it, and then turned around and looked up behind him and saw Keys on a balcony looking down at him. And like he didn't have any proof of anything, so he just went back to the police station and like that guy later saw Keys like being booked and was like, that's the guy. That's the guy I saw on the balcony. So like they were seriously like they had so many people looking for this guy. They had found that car. They thought it was suspicious. And they actually had someone watching that car until like the morning, if I recall correctly. So
Yeah,
they were onto him for a good like hours before. So, and then they had a guy be like, okay, if that car moves and does anything, this is suspicious. This guy kind of matches the description. Let's just keep a look on it. And so basically they were stopping everyone
hmm,
in a white car like that and asking where for their driver's license. And if they weren't from Alaska, they were just letting them go. And Keys
right.
was the only one from Alaska. So if he had changed his car, they wouldn't have got him.
And he
But I just
tried
thought
to,
that was
right?
crazy.
He's had
Yeah, he
tried to or
tried to.
something? Yeah, he tried to go back to the yeah, there's so many interesting parts that whole scene that plays out in American Predator, I thought was one of the better scenes in the book, more arresting, pun not intended. But the part where this Rayburn is talking about this, it just reminds me of like No Country for Old Men or something. It has that Texas flavor where he says, "Remember, divine intervention." And he's talking about how Lufkin only had two full-time FBI agents. One had retired, and Deb Ganaway, who had just transferred to Lufkin, stopped by my office the next morning to introduce herself, and that's where it all kind of starts out from. It's just this weird happenstance, you know. It's like
Yeah.
so lucky in the sense that Keys got caught, but yeah, there's so many things about that case that are just like mind bending like that. Man, so I don't know if we wanted to. I don't know if we want to even kind of go in order, but I mean, like the release about the Texas Department of Public Safety has like that's the one that has all the interview footage and stuff like that. Did you have anything that you wanted to say about that that might direct people and what's interesting in the material?
Um, it's interesting, like looking at Key's belongings because like this is it's kind of weird seeing them because like you would just never know. Like it's just so strange. But I think probably I always wondered why Keys ended up driving alone. Like what was he doing alone? Because he was going to meet his brother, but his brother took his daughter in their car, and then Keys went alone in his car. And I was always wondering, like, why though?
Yeah,
Um,
it wasn't exactly clear to me. I don't know if they ever followed up on this. What was his daughter with him on that final trip, or like what was the? I'm trying to remember. Like what?
yeah, she was with him, but she went with her uncle, his brother, in his brother's car, and they were supposed to like meet up later. I don't
Oh,
know why. I just really don't. I have no idea. So it's a good thing because I would like that poor kid. Imagine if they pulled him over and she was in the car because like all her stuff was in the car. You can see it in the photos.
right. Yeah.
Um, I think also the thing that was most interesting was like the rolls of money in the car.
Right.
I wondered like if he was planning on like doing something like going to bury them or like visit a cache real quick before his flight because I know he buried a bunch of stuff by the airport. I don't know. But it was interesting seeing that stuff. And I know a lot of people did complain about like, not a lot, but some people complained about how the video and audio don't line up. And it's because for those
Yeah.
audio interviews, we just don't have video for them. So I just put the video that is available.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you want to go here, if you want to go watch all of the actual video and the audio that lines up, you're welcome to do that. But there's essentially like the officers walk in and ask him for like a sandwich if he
Right.
wants a sandwich.
Want a
Like
Subway?
it's
We're
not
going to
interesting.
Subway. Yeah. Yeah. The whole reason that you even have any sort of visual and audio married up there, and this is what I was referring to earlier, is one of the examples of your attention to detail, is because you guys went through the trouble of like creating at least a facsimile. It doesn't exactly line up, which is important, to note in that one Texas interview, I think, right?
Yeah, Parker was like,
yeah.
just telling me like, you know what? I think that's the best visual aid you have. Like, would you rather watch this while listening to the interview, or would you rather like a still photo?
Just to kind of like expound on that, because people are not in the weeds as we are, but there's a one of the Texas interviews has like audio that's not synced with the video, so at least you get to see like what it looks like, but it's not like a real-time sync of the two. I have
Yeah.
to get to this. Outdoor Loser 4340 said he used to work with a guy named John Peel, and I immediately was like, boom, that's the God, I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it's an infamous case from Southeast Alaska where 5 people were murdered on a fishing boat. The Investor is what it was called. It is a wild story.
Whoa.
I know all about it. I have a friend that wrote a book about it. It's so crazy, man. It's an unsolved case from like the early 80s here. And it kind of goes to what I was talking about, where there's all sorts of crazy stuff happening here because there was just money flooding in the state and all sorts of, I don't know. Yeah, low lifes, I
I'm
guess.
looking at it now. This looks crazy.
Yeah, it's
This
a
looks
nutty case. Yeah, I knew a gal that worked at the paper when I also had a student working as a newspaper person, and her name was Brittany Rutherford, and she was like deep into that case. It was an interesting, fascinating case with a lot of cultural resonance up here. Yeah, wow, man, totally took me off course there, but I had to acknowledge that. That's really interesting. John Peel was the guy who was a deckhand on the boat who was tried and acquitted because there was really, it's anyway, I don't want to get too far into it. But
interesting.
yeah, this sort of thing where you're like, yeah, all these weird cases.
Can't wait to go to Alaska.
Yeah, I live in Juneau, which is like one of the ports of call with the cruise ships, and that's kind of how a lot of people visit. I would suggest maybe taking an overland route because I'm not a fan of the cruise industry generally, but it's
My brother used to live in Fairbanks, and I was planning on visiting him up there, but I just never got around to doing it. But a bunch of my family's been up there, so I really would need to go. But Parker and I were thinking of doing a cruise, but if we don't, because I want to go to Canada too, so
yeah.
We're thinking of just driving because our dog would love it.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's worth going.
I want to go during the fur rondy because like I want to try all the food and eat some whale blubber.
Yeah.
And like, you know what I mean? Like experience
Get in there.
Alaska.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it is like interesting.
It's a fascinating place. It really is.
The other thing too is like it's like such a huge place. Like the difference between like Fairbanks and Juneau is like kind of hard to calculate if you're, because Fairbanks is like a sort of like living on the moon during the winter because the sun is much closer to the Arctic Circle. Like we're a lot more similar to like Seattle or Vancouver than where I'm at because we're on the Panhandle. Where the inside passage where the cruise ship goes. But Fairbanks is a nutty place. It's really crazy, interesting. I went there when I was a kid with my dad because my dad was up there in the 70s making like documentaries about the oil pipelines. That's
so cool.
And it's just full of characters and interesting people. It's a totally different vibe because they're all real pioneer people that actually have outdoor skills up there.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
One thing I really want to do, this is kind of off topic, but I was obsessed with for years. I watched Life Below Zero.
Oh, okay.
And there are a couple people up there are in the show who they still work up there and do like hunting tours. And I was like, that would be cool. Like to go meet some of those people and like do a
Hmm.
like go hunting or something.
Yeah. Where's that set? Is it up? Because there's like up in Barrow or
It's
something
all
like
like
that?
the
Yeah.
Arctic Circle.
Okay. Yeah.
Like it's up there.
Yeah. It's yeah, I've never actually been up like in that area because it's there's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want to go.
Well, like they lived up there during the
Yeah.
show, but now I think they work like closer to town.
Yeah, it's just
So
pretty
they're doing like hunting
inhospitable.
tours.
um,
Yeah.
it's very expensive, and there's not many options for like restaurants, for example. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you want to like go, just like get in the stuff. It's yeah, it's really. There's a really great book called Firecracker Boys that kind of like gets into the whole lifestyle right around when Alaska became a state, and it's really fascinating because the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission wanted to use a nuclear weapon to make a bomb in like or make a harbor in Western Alaska, and yeah, like these native groups and sort of environmentalists prevented it, and it's a really wild
Wow.
story that almost happened because yeah, things would be much different if it had.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm. The history in Alaska is fascinating.
Yeah, I think what's kind of, oh yeah, you know, I'm sorry because I just feel like I can just take like a million left turns, and this was something I was thinking about too, Susan. Didn't the money that was in Keys's car when he was arrested have like bank dye on it or something like that? Wasn't that something that's
Yeah, you can see a little bit of dye, but the main thing it had on it was mold. Like
oh,
it looked awful.
I had never
There
heard
was a
that.
lot of mold on it. You can see it in the photos if you scroll
Yeah,
and pull them
yeah.
up.
Do you know which one that's in by chance? Is it in the Department of Public Safety or
It's
Keys
yeah, it's
evidence?
in this one. No, it's in this
Okay,
article here, but it's there
yeah,
are so many photos.
yeah, I got it. Lufkin Images
Oh yeah, the
brand.
images. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
cool.
it's the other one.
Yep,
Yeah, the images. Um
500 megabytes. Cool.
and
We'll get.
I thought that was interesting because it does not take long. I mean, they talk about the mold on the money in the interview.
Hmm.
They ask him about it, and it's because he buried him near the airport. And I think that that money is from when he robbed the bank in Azel or
Oh yeah,
Azel or however you say it.
yeah,
And then
right.
he flew back to Anchorage to like disposed of Samantha Koenig's body. And then
Uh,
he flew back to Texas, and I think he got the money because it doesn't take long for that to grow on
yeah,
on
it'd be
money.
really interesting if they. I'm sure they must have like mold experts or something because that would give you a pretty interesting piece of evidence in terms of the timeline.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you know, Harley was mentioning that he got sloppy. I think we've talked about that a little bit, but it's like such a fascinating aspect of it because yeah, it just seemed like he was taking on more and more risks. Or yeah, I just wish. Yeah, I really need to like
Yeah.
completely go through all that stuff. It's just you know, when I'm not editing weird little YouTube shorts. Have you ever edited shorts before? I'm sure you have, but I'm just curious what your experience has been with that format.
So I've tried to edit them with CapCut. I've
Yeah,
tried the TikTok editor so I can repost stuff. And it's so annoying that
yeah,
I actually will just change the aspect ratio and edit stuff in DaVinci.
yeah, yeah.
And then I like will either upload it on like through the site or I send it to myself on like Google Drive and then download it and then upload it to YouTube because the
Mhm.
settings are different. Like if you upload via your computer or YouTube Studio,
Oh, Parker's here.
it won't let you.
Hello.
Okay, that's awesome.
I'm not quite finished, but
Yeah.
I just passed the customer up to my manager for a segment of the sale. So I thought I would stop by and say hello.
That's not what I
Good
wanted
to
to do.
see
Sorry.
you.
It's good to see you guys too.
Yeah, sorry, I'm messing up. There we go. There's a good format. Yeah, time is flying by as it always does.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
always
like
good
it's
to
been
see
like
that.
5 minutes.
Yeah, I always describe it as a wormhole because it really is like, yeah, you just kind of try to keep your senses about you. A lot of great questions from the chat. So yeah, I love that
prison
cowboy hat, man.
photos,
Yeah.
I'm glad that it's been going well.
Yeah, I'm sure we
Yeah.
could talk keys for years. Yeah. Did you want to touch on any of the evidence while you're here? Or do you have any burning desires to talk about something? Or
I don't know what all's been said about it, but certainly it was important to us to get it out there for people. Grateful to our subscribers for covering the costs and more than the cost to acquire it. And just it was important to us because of that to release it for anybody who is trying to find victims and who wants to put victims to rest for the families. I'm just grateful that we were able to do that, and I'm grateful to our subscribers for helping us make that happen. I wish that more of the true crime creators out there would do the same thing that we did, because, and I'm going to speak directly to them, it is within your capacity to do what we did. Anybody could do what we did. This is the age of the internet. Information wants to be free.
Yeah.
And you have the ability to make a huge difference if you can go and get this these kinds of files to release for researchers who donate their time to try and put victims to rest. You could do that. We did it. Do it just like we did.
I think it's really cool because it's like planting a seed almost. Like it's just, you never really know who will catch on, to it. Some future researcher will find something interesting in there,
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
You never, ever know.
Yeah, I mean, 6 months from now or 5 years from now, someone who's just has like the right connections or right place or right mind or whatever, like could see all this evidence and then put pieces together and like really truly solve more like unknown victims. You just never know. But people can't do that without being able to look at the evidence.
No, if creators are going to clutch the evidence and act like they own it, and they're entitled to behave that way if they want to, but I thought it deserved calling out, and I just thought it deserved a better example to be set.
Well, I don't think that it's fair for creators, including us or anybody, to decide that strangers don't know how to like put puzzle pieces together. Like you cannot decide who can figure something out and who can't. It's not up to you.
I agree.
So I feel like our audience, just, all of our subscribers to crimecult.com, like you're the reason we were able to get it, because like, it definitely all paid for itself.
I can't say enough good things about our subscribers. I can't thank them enough for their support, because really we wouldn't have been able to do it if it weren't for you. And so thank you. And thank you for allowing us to kind of make this point. And yeah.
One thing I've noticed about like people that are like sort of like gatekeepers in true crime stuff is it's almost like the one ring in the Fellowship of the Rings, where it's like the longer you hold on to it, the more it corrupts you. It's like you just see some people that are just sort of really married to their version of facts. And that's one thing that I've tried not to do, is stay down in any one rabbit hole for too long. I like to move around. It's fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Susan had a question about why do you think he brought the burner and water when he killed the couple? I wonder if he branded them as a way to torture them. Yeah, mind rebels. But you guys have any thoughts on that?
I don't know. Sometimes I think that like the options of like just not knowing, it could be so much more like simple than we think. Because I remember one time at work, because like I used to do work at like nightclubs doing hostess stuff way back in the day. And we lived in like all over the US. So sometimes I would just meet people who had all kinds of different backgrounds, and I would just end up talking to them and asking them questions. And I met this one fireman he started talking to me about arson, like he brought it up. So I just asked him, I was like, okay, well, what's the best way to get away with that? Like, and he told me that if there is like a radiator or something, some kind of burner, and you just knock it over, that's the easiest way to cover up like an intent to cover up arson. So one of my first thoughts on the burner was that it was used to burn the house down. But then my other thought would be like, why would someone like Keys ever care to cover up arson and make it look like it wasn't an arson? I don't think he would care at all about that. And then another thought, of course, is like,
he tried to cover up the murder. His last murder.
Yeah.
It's really,
so I mean, it could have been used to burn the house down. I don't know about like regarding torture methods. I try not to like think about that stuff because we just don't know, and it's that starts going down a really dark hole.
Yes. Yeah, I'm posting a link in the chat. Oh, I finally got the images downloaded, so we can take a look at those in a minute. But one of the things that is sort of involved in this whole labs failure is there's a science called arson science where they would analyze the burn patterns. And this is a really searing article I read from a really good writer named David Gran, who chronicled that Texas executing a guy who was in all likelihood innocent of an arson murder charge. The article is called Trial by Fire. It's a fascinating read. That goes into the whole detail of like how these arson investigation science started. I refer to them as folk sciences because they're like, I don't know, not really science. But anyway, it's just nuts because like lots of people got, put to the chair for this kind of stuff. Same with like bite mark, tool mark. There's a bunch of them. It's really weird. Anyway, everything always circles back in this weird world, But
yeah, for sure.
Leo made me think of this. I am going to. Is the chat private?
No, you should. Well, there's a private chat and there's a public chat. So yeah.
I just shared in the comments for anybody who wants it the link to our all the evidence that we just made for free.
Right. Yeah. So, we linked it earlier, but it's never bad to link it again because there's tons of great stuff in there. Yeah. I think it's in the description as well. But anyway, yeah, we can link it everywhere in the world because
I'm coming in late and and I'm not even done really. I'm gonna have to bow as soon as my manager knocks on the door here. I'm gonna have to step out.
Yeah, sorry to pull you away, but it is nice just to get you to drop in.
I'm sorry that this is such a. It's just what doing this is like. I just as easily could have not had a customer all day, and instead I sold the WRX that I posted a video about just this morning.
Yeah. Congrats.
Fun cars.
Thank you. Congrats.
That's a very Juno car. Yeah.
Just got a new car.
So we got these photos, and I think you guys want to take a quick gander at Israel Keys' belongings. I guess I should get on mic. Let's do that. What do you think?
Sure.
I guess we could also move on to another one if you guys think DPS isn't quite where it's at anymore. But it is really eerie to look at these guys. I think I can.
If you can't see the link in the chat, you can just go to crimecult.com. It's relatively easy to find that stuff on the website.
Yep. Yeah.
I am really curious about your experience with like prison life and the stuff you talked about with that.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I that was it. I didn't know how to word it because I'm what is your work history in regards to like the prison system?
Well, like when I first started working in criminal law, and I really had no encounter with it before, so it was very new and weird to me. I worked at the public defender, and so you're talking to people who are in prison all the time. The link to here we go. It was just posted by Walker Lane. That's Parker's handle on YouTube if you want to subscribe for some great car content too. But that's the link right there, Crime Cult, and now a victory lap. That's the stuff we've been reviewing all night. So, but when you work for the PD, you end up, talking to people who are in jail awaiting trial. And people in jail have a lot of time on their hands. So you just have a long and sort of intimate connection to folks and what they do all day long and what their routines are like. And you also go and visit them in jail, because you have to talk to your clients before they go to trial to confer with them. And it's just a mess. Turns out that prison guards don't really like defense lawyers and their staff, so you end up getting stuck. It's just a very weird experience. And so
I'm sure there's a lot of animosity there.
Not well between like the cops and it's just a really tense environment because
like a territorial thing.
Yeah, like the prison guards don't like defense attorneys because they're, I don't know, on different teams or something like that. And it's just all very close quarters, and it gets very real. You know what? Let me repost the link here. I'm sorry. I think folks are a little bit confused because it didn't come from the main account here. And I've got it right here. Okay. But yeah, it's just you kind of just come to understand like what the whole deal is in there. And the other thing is, I did a lot of work with people who had been in prison for a long time and are like now corresponding with anybody trying to get their case to get worked on. And yeah, that's how I got involved in the whole FBI thing. I just opened the letter one day and, my whole life descended into a 15-year-long thing. And that case is actually still being litigated. Like I opened that letter and started getting into the hair and fiber stuff. That was like 2008. So close to 20 years. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, worked with a lot of people in jail. And
you want to look at the cell stuff?
So I've got the pictures up right now from the PDF we downloaded. I think his possessions. Is that what you're referring to?
Oh, I meant like the prison files that we got.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's switch over to that. We're just looking at a headlamp right now, and it's a little creepy, but let's see here. So we've got. Yeah. Oh, is it going to be the Anchorage PD one? Is that it? It's the last one. Some late.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. We're juggling tabs here. Okay. Yeah, this is the real. I guess if people are a little bit sensitive to blood, I guess maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Some late keys files. Here we go.
I definitely also gave a little a warning before looking at these, but it's interesting seeing his cell because I'm assuming like this is not normal. If someone ends up taking their life in prison, they're not smearing blood everywhere.
Yeah.
Like all over the walls.
And there's some...
or like filling up milk cartons with it. Like it's a lot.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff that he writes on the walls that people have been speculating about too. So maybe we can get some answers on that. Sorry, I'm just making sure we'll check in with the chat as well. But so the first one's just a B3. That's his cell, I'm assuming. And then we see a garbage can filled with some of his effects, perhaps printed out pictures from a prison printer. Yeah, lots of weird stuff in there like that.
That's a prison printer. Like he had to. You think he asked for it to be printed?
Yes, you can't get like normal photos. Like there's so many weird things like that. That just the prison has all these weird regulations. I don't know. That's my assumption.
Hey, Victoria.
Yeah.
Will you drop that same link for everybody? Because I think what's happening is people are watching on individual channels, and it's preventing them from. I don't know. Just a guess.
I dropped it in again, but Oh yeah, that's the other thing to mention, I guess, is that may be confusing folks, is that we're streaming in 3 different places. So, yeah, and that's why I'm trying to keep track of the chat. So, yeah.
The Leo Paul Helmar channel, the Viktoria Evans channel, and the Walker Lane channel. So,
yeah, we're mixing it up. And just imagine if we start streaming to multiple destinations, we're really getting out there.
That'll be crazy.
Yeah, thank you for hosting this, Leo. We appreciate it.
Yeah. He's
a great host.
Well, except for when it comes to getting a mic to work. But so, okay, we're looking at this one. Do we want to move on to let's kind of buzz through some of these, or what do you think?
Yeah, sure. I thought it was like interesting what you said about the prison printer, though, like that he had to specifically ask for that picture.
Yeah, because this was back in like late 2012, and so I didn't even know. At that point, I was working actually for the prosecutor's office. I moved to the other side, so I wasn't. But like, it was difficult to get. They don't nowadays. They have an email system where they get printed emails that they can use to correspond with people. But even that it's arduous to get done because it costs money usually, and people in prison don't often have money. So yeah. Anyway,
here it looked like he was trying to like practice rolling up the paper to attach to the pencil. Because that's how he like made that makeshift. He like stuck a razor in a piece of a pencil, like a really short pencil, and then he elongated it so he could hold on to it. And it looks like he has 3 different versions here of trying to like roll that up. Great.
So it looks like your link did work, Walker. So we can Parker. So we can be assured of that. Jill had
it's also super easy to find if you just go to crimecult.com.
Yeah.
Scroll down a little.
It was on December 24th. Yeah. It was
almost
Christmas Eve. Yeah.
Yeah. Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, we posted the last 2.
Jill had a question about the rumors that were started by True Crime BS that FBI agent Ted Holla said Keyes may have had 54 victims and had written it in blood on the cell wall and then smeared it away. Well, that's quite the scenario. Sorry, I should have put that up.
I heard it from Jill, who commented on our channel.
Okay.
And that's the first I ever heard of it. I don't like, did Ted Holla actually say that himself?
Huh. Yeah.
Because like, if you look at the cell photos, like if you pull them up, you cannot see that. Like I've looked, I've zoomed in on them. I've tried to find them like on the wall. Like it doesn't look anywhere like it said 54 and then it was smeared. Like where?
Yeah, there's the writing.
However, I do believe that sounds like something that TCBS would come up with.
Yeah. Does sound a little fan fiction-y. This is one of the more interesting things that I've seen, just in terms of people's interpretation of it. That it's, I believe it says Caracol, and I guess that's a place in perhaps South America, or Spanish word. But there's also an island near where I am in Southeast that's named Caracol, but it's very obscure.
Really?
Yeah.
It's an Alaskan island?
Yeah, it's probably like within 200 miles of me. Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah, it's in.
I assumed it was from his time in Belize, because Caracol is that Mayan archaeological site with like the Mayan pyramid, and they used to like, they're famous for cutting people's heads off and like kicking them off the pyramid and like building like towers of skulls, and like they have like insatiable bloodlust. Like the Mayans worship blood and death. Right. And that culture still carries on to like modern day Mexico and like just the area of the Mayans. So like I just assumed that it was that from his time in Belize. But
yeah, I mean it's
I don't know.
And then this one says, if I kind of buzzed through a bunch of these at once, so maybe we could move back, but I don't know if you, because I just kind of wanted to give people a sense of what the area looked like, just so they could make their own interpretation of whether or not that might be plausible. Seeing his glasses And also just this is just random, but like the color of his hair being so greasy and gray, I don't know, it just kind of looked like an older man that I would have guessed Keys was at 36, you know? Um,
I didn't think his hair looked gray. Wait,
okay,
is it?
maybe it's just the coloring on my monitor or something, but it came off to
Wow.
me as like oddly.
It definitely looked like greasy,
Mm,
though.
yeah, we'll get to it. This
But
too.
apparently people in prison, you either age a lot from the stress, or if you had like really bad habits, you end up looking more youthful because you stay sober and you have to get up early in the morning, and like
Yeah.
it like puts you on like a system.
Yeah, some people kind of like take to it very well, and others, it's very. This one also kind of gives a real vibe just of how pathetic his little world is. Just these
Yeah.
don't look like a cabin, a Boy Scout bunk or something, but covered with blood and random effects. Boy, that's like real thick blood. So there must be in our artery blood. I'm assuming that's kind of what I'm taking from that photo.
Yeah, they said that he cut his arm, like a vein in his arm, and then he was laying on top of it, I guess. But one of the guys interviewing the correctional officer said that he could see the blood through the window in Key's cell, through the monitor. Like looking at a monitor, you can see the cell, and then you could see the blood pooling through the monitor into the window. So the fact that the police officer or the correctional officer didn't see it became a big topic in the interviews, because they were like, how could you not? It's so much, like it's so much blood. Look at it.
And I think that
was
led to some people to speculate that maybe the guards were looking the other way. Richard, I wanted to thank you before for the $20, and I really appreciate the another 10. So I guess we should take priority with his question. I wonder if Keyes was a Satanist. The serious lack of motive for his crimes, the lack of empathy, and the sure randomness of his crimes makes me wonder. Have you guys heard anything about Satanism being involved with Keyes?
Yeah. In episode 1 of our new 3-part series, we talked about this. We actually play audio from Key's interviews. He talks about Satanism himself, and he says that he was really interested in it when he was younger, and that he was planning a satanic ritual with that girl who he ended up sexually assaulting.
Yeah.
But then he said when it actually came time to doing it, this satanic part, completely he lost interest, and he just got so focused on actually like harming this girl and like the sexual sadism aspect. He's like, it totally went on the back burner. I didn't care about it. And then he realized after that if he doesn't believe in God, then how could he believe in the devil? Because how could the devil exist without but then God doesn't exist? And he was just saying that it didn't make sense to him. So he actually became an atheist, and he felt like none of it existed, and he fell away from Satanism because he said that being a Satanist didn't it contradicted his atheism. So he was interested in that when he was younger. And I think as he got older, if you grew up super religious, like I did personally, grew up super religious. And I remember I think it was my first year of college, I bought the Satanic Bible just to read it. Because I was like, if you grew up so religious, there's always a curiosity there about other religions. What are they doing? What about Satanism? What about the devil who's so bad? What is this? So there's always an interest there. And then I think a lot of us were like, yeah, this is stupid. And then we lose interest too. So I remember reading the Satanic Bible and being like, this is not interesting like I thought it would be. And I think a lot of people have kind of experienced that. But then the interest, or the, I don't know how to call it, it's the style. Yeah, you were just talking about rock music.
The
and like
taboo, yeah.
that
Redford
style
11, yeah.
still remains, like the interest in the style surrounding it. So
Mhm.
a lot of people like will think, oh, that's so satanic, but you're not actually satanic. You like metal.
Right.
Like, do you see what I'm saying? So I can
Like the
see how
window
like,
dressing, yeah.
yeah, like the
I'd like to
style
take
might
a
have remained.
second to speak to the idea that there was no motive.
Ooh.
The psychopathy is a
Right.
self-evident motive. He has compulsions that he doesn't have functional control of that lead him into those acts. So that's the motivation, is just a personality disorder that he's burdened by.
Yeah, I think that you made that point like early in the first stream that we did, and it's really stuck with me ever since, because it's like, it's maybe just under your nose a little bit. But the other thing I wanted to mention is I posted a link in the chat to the early years part one, which is, I believe, what you're referring to. It was published back in February of 2025 that has the Satanism stuff in it.
Oh, I also want to add, I like to say when I mention that they're compulsions, is that doesn't remove his individual culpability.
Right.
Because we all have compulsions and we don't all act on them.
Right.
Yeah, this is where the whole lead theory of violence came in. And I love that because it's so interesting. It adds a really interesting wrinkle, which is, there's a lot of these sort of data graphs that show like violence going up with the emission of lead or in gasoline and paints and stuff. So people think there may be a correlation. It's hard to say, I guess, but there's been books about it. One called Murderland recently, about the smelting plant in, I think it's Spokane. But anyway, that's one explanation for why there might be so many serial killers from the Washington area.
Interesting. I think it's like a big combination of stuff. Because like he had, what, 11 siblings?
Somewhere in there, yeah. An
So,
Irish
like,
Catholic level of siblings, yeah. My mom had like 8, but she grew up in like the 50s, so
it's a lot.
yeah.
And so it's interesting to see like what is his like younger brother like, or his sister.
Yeah.
Like his older sister. So I mean, you could still be impacted by something environmental like that impacts like your brain development or hormones, and can like make you more like rageful, I guess, or prone to anger. But like, how far does lead poisoning take you? Does it take you to kidnapping, rape, murder, disposal, arson, bank rob? Like, at what point are we talking? This is like, you know what I mean? So like, I could see someone like getting really, really hostile and angry, but like, yeah, I think at some point he's just a psychopathic, homicidal maniac.
I mean, the lead also removes like damages executive functioning and impulse control and all of that stuff. But again, for me, how I view it all, it doesn't remove the individual culpability or responsibility for those actions. He's still a murderer. I wish that the state had killed him instead of him getting to kill himself. But
yeah,
it's just such a mess. Susan had a question about if you guys had any thoughts about what would have happened if Israel's daughter or girlfriend had walked in on the shed. And there's that incident that's described in the book American Predator, where it sounds like his daughter was like knocking on the shed. And I think Walker referred to this recently in a conversation. What would have gone down then?
That always leaps out to me whenever anybody brings up the idea that he was some kind of a good dad. Like, oh, but he was a good dad. No, he wasn't. He absolutely was not.
I think he was like a better dad than people would have expected, maybe. So that's maybe where the dissonance comes in. But yeah, it's interesting the way that it gets framed. There's another comment Jill had about the FBI enhancing images of the walls. That's where the 54 victim idea came from. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. One thing that's really interesting about like the true crime communities is just the little stories that Granted, just sort of gives you an indication of like where people's imaginations will go, but
For sure.
I haven't really
Yeah.
yeah, a brain defect is in amygdala. I think it's just like the lead poisoning thing is interesting because it emerged before this whole serial killer hypothesis. It's just a violence hypothesis, but it's just like a systemic damage that it does to your system that was only discovered, I guess, after lead was widely introduced to many different
I
things
think
like
it's a fascinating theory. I shared do you remember, was it the Washington Post? There was a story that I sent you recently, like this last week.
Yeah.
It was about this same idea,
Yeah,
except
yeah.
it wasn't about gasoline or leaded paint. It was about in the Pacific Northwest specifically, they had a lot of
the smelting
lead ore smelting
Yeah.
plants, and they have a suspicion that might be why the concentration of killers seems to be higher there. Although I remember researching that, and I'm not sure that was. I don't know that was super accurate.
Yeah, and it's you're dealing with small sample sizes at a certain extent.
Well, and also you're dealing with a lot of intangible, potentially unidentified. Maybe the serial killers who live in the Pacific Northwest are less competent than the serial killers everywhere else because of the lead, and so they've gotten caught at higher rates. So it looks like there's more density of the
That's a great point. Yeah,
because like we know of more in the area, but that doesn't mean there aren't more somewhere else.
Yeah. Exactly. Jeez,
it also doesn't mean that they didn't go there for other reasons. There could be something about that region, kind of similar to Alaska in that regard.
Right. There's some sort of filter, and yeah.
I mean, Alaska, as you know, because you live there, it attracts a certain kind of person with a certain kind of mindset and a certain kind of personality. And I think that's true of Pacific Northwest as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he specifically said that it was more difficult to get away with stuff in Texas because everyone has a gun. You can't, we talked about this with the last time a little bit, but like all it would take is for Keyes to walk into the wrong house. I mean, Bill Courier almost, I feel like if age wasn't a factor and he didn't need like specific medication, you know what I mean? Like it was just it would just take the wrong house to walk into. Someone with a gun being like, I'm not putting up with this. You're out of your mind. And just shooting him. Like the whole, Indiana Jones, that famous scene where the guy with the knife, he's going like this and Indy just pulls out a gun and shoots him. Keyes just needed to meet the right Indiana Jones type to like just shoot him in the face. So like, I think that people are picking regions where it's less of a thing, less likely that will happen.
Even without a gun, I mean, granted, he did use a rifle to do it, but he didn't shoot the guy to death. That Chris and my mind's blanking on the other name, but the Wells family that we talked about during the last stream, he just beat the guy to death. So that's even that was a possible outcome for Keyes as well. It just unfortunately didn't go that way.
Yeah.
A couple quick, good, interesting comments here. Susan mentions that Israel hit all the ticks for a serial killer, torturing animals, arson, and it's like when you go over the stuff that's in the description for like a factor 2 antisocial, however you want to define it, he really does hit like every single one. And I also Joan mentioning that there's an Aryan nation near Idaho. I was just thinking of the fact that after the OJ trial, Furman moved to Sandpoint, Idaho, which is, I guess, notorious for that. So lots of that in the area.
I believe that was at Hayden Lake, Idaho, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah. I mean, when you get into those like areas of those states, like on the West Coast that aren't populated, it's such a different vibe. Like it's not the hippy dippy city vibe of a Portland. It gets definitely strange. Susan didn't bring it. This is like something I don't think like we have touched on it a couple times, but his family was living in a tent for years, right? Like,
Yeah.
because his
So
dad wanted to
actually,
flip houses.
the living in the tent thing was in some early information I got. So the first documentary that I made for YouTube was like almost 5 years ago.
Wow.
So I put that out. That's the living in the tent is actually not in the new documentary. That information's been updated with the files we've got. His family was like renting a trailer on a property. So it was still a very, very kind of like impoverished and small situation that they were in. So like Keys could have been exposed to something like that. I don't know. But like it was still a small area, but they weren't like living in a tent. And I think there was also some confusion because when Keys first did work on that house in Maupin, Oregon, on the back of his pickup truck, he basically like built a tent on the back of it and then slept in the bed of his pickup truck in this like makeshift tent while he worked on the house. And then his family would drive in there like in an RV, I think. No, maybe not an RV, but they would drive down to the house from the farm that they were living on in the trailer and then like work on it during the day and then go back. But still, I mean, it was a really small place and like they still lived in a small cabin on the property. It's still a lot of kids. That's why when Keys was like 16 or 17, he built his own cabin. And his mom was like worried he was spending too much time alone, which I think is crazy. I'm like, if you have a 16-year-old boy and like he's a teenager, he probably doesn't want to live with like 13 other people in a tiny house. And so he goes and builds his own like cabin. I think it says a lot about his mom having problems like letting her children be independent.
Right.
Which can be also
Codependent
like,
type relationship.
yeah, that's super messed up too.
Yeah.
Because you create like attachment style issues by doing that.
You know what, Victoria, I was just thinking that the description that Callahan had in American Predator seemed to mirror so maybe she just took that from you and didn't fact check it or something, because it's funny.
Oh, no, I took that from her.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then I took some of it from the FBI files. So if I remember, there was a tent mentioned in the FBI files, but not all of the stuff in those files is correct because it's coming from interviews with people.
Yeah, they're like 302s. They're raw interviews.
Yeah, like if you read through all of them, there's like contradictory information. Like some people will say they lived here, and then in other files they're saying something else.
I guess the other thing to mention is that you can't really confirm it. It's not like they're paying property tax or whatever.
The reason I figured out where his family actually lived is because finally we got more interviews with Keys himself, and he explained in the interviews that his family didn't live in a tent. So that's the only reason I know that. I don't know where, like, who the FBI interviewed that someone thought that, but I don't know.
And he's not exactly a reliable narrator either. Sorry to interrupt, Parker.
No, he's not.
I know that this idea isn't the most popular amongst true crime fans. I know that they hate hearing it, but it's factual, and eyewitnesses are the most compelling to other people and also the type of evidence that is most likely to be wrong. And that includes a lot of what Leo was talking about earlier of sort of evidentiary techniques that have been completely essentially disproven. And if you factor that in and consider that eyewitnesses are still the least reliable form of evidence.
Yeah, they're very suggestible. So that's why the lineup's so important. There's an incredible documentary called Murder on a Sunday Morning about a bad witness ID in Jacksonville. And it's like, you see the whole scenario play out, and it's kind of shocking. Anyway, that's a good one to watch if anybody hasn't seen it yet.
If I seem distracted, by the way, I just want to apologize. I'm like watching at some point I'm going to have to hop up out of this chair and throw some plates on the back of the car. I'm just trying to.
Oh, like not like dinner plates, but some kind of
temp tags.
Okay.
I watch a lot of comedy and I love Larry David. And there's this episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where someone's trying to ID Larry for doing something.
Mm.
And so they're behind this glass at the police office and there's a lineup of people. And they tell everyone to leave except Larry David, who's a skinny white guy, and then a black man.
Yeah.
And they're just the two of them. They couldn't look more dissimilar. And the police officer is asking the witness, like, which one was it? And he's like, I just can't tell. I just don't know. And it's like they don't even look anything alike, dude. But like that is what I think. That is what I think of when I think of like eyewitnesses like describing stuff. Cause like your mind can just like fill in the blanks. Like
And a lot of time you just kind of want to do what the authority figure like wants you to do, so you're almost like looking to them. I guess Susan Bennett, a frequent and very good commenter, says she's a car saleswoman in Florida, so she's a member of the tribe.
What's I'm curious. What do you sell? Or is it a used dealership? Is it a franchise dealership?
I love car people, man. I was telling Parker that I used to work for a place that licensed 1-800 numbers, and you just learn their world. It's really fun. It's strange.
I need to get a light kit in this place.
CarMax.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the big blower. This is got to be one of the biggest players in the industry, right?
They're not really, but they're having an outsized effect on the market right now. They're
Perfect.
CarMax and Carvana are responsible for about 3% of sales, and they're responsible for about 15% of the purchasing out of auctions, which is starting to pressure the independent dealers, like the guy that I worked for down the street before I took this job. He's having a difficult time finding cars at auction. The reconditioning costs that he's paying on those cars are higher, not just because reconditioning costs have gone up, but because the cars that he's getting require more work, because CarMax and Carvana have a much larger financial backing than he does, being publicly traded companies. The way I like to say it is they can just go and sell another tranche of stock, and they have another $1 billion to go and buy more cars. My friend Brian down the street, he's got to borrow money or use his own money.
Or you get the dealer financing. One of the things I love about car guys, and this is one of the things I love about true crime, is just the particulars. Like I just like people that are into the particulars, and like it's almost like the brand that a novelist will use to add interesting detail to a character. They smoke Marlboro cigarettes, or just, I don't know, it's just funny to me and interesting. I like hearing about these weird little worlds.
I miss smoking Marlboro cigarettes.
Yeah. It's a hell of a brand. Do you guys want to keep looking at photos, or I don't know, I just want to check in.
Yeah.
2 hours has gone by. We're all Richard Ford.
God.
Man, this was so fun.
I didn't realize the time.
No, but I'm good to keep going too. I have a habit of checking in around 2 hours because I find that
I've only been here for about 20 minutes, so I'm good.
More photos, or just checking.
I was just saying we could look at more of the keys evidence, like the cell stuff, but it's up to you.
No, I'm with it. I'm totally good. I'm fresh as a daisy. I just wanted to touch base here. I'm going to stop sharing that. Okay. So let's see here. Let me get back into present mode, which, let's see here. So we've really touched on, ones I don't think we've touched on at all are Anchorage Police Department stuff, Essex Police, and the interviews. Those are the ones we haven't looked at all. Are any of those the ones you were referring to, or?
Oh, I just meant the new evidence we got, since those have been,
okay.
I mean, we could talk about that if you want. Those have been available for a while, so I don't know.
So I think these are going to be in like
we can definitely, whatever you want to talk about. Like,
so these are going to be like a later post, like from this, not the December 24th one, right? And there's the December 25th one, some late keys files. Okay, yeah, I think this is.
Oh yeah, those are all the prison ones.
Okay.
It's up
to
you.
Remember what it's called? No, just tell me what it's called, because I mean, you know this stuff much better than I do. So I want to follow your lead.
I just thought if anyone had any, since those are the most recent files we got,
Okay.
if anyone had questions about any of the Keys prison files,
Right.
feel free to ask.
Yeah.
But I mean, if anyone has questions about any of the evidence, we can take a look at it.
Yeah. It's just a labyrinth in there. What was the latest material that you released? Was it? I think Parker earlier said that there was released on the 24th and then the 25th of December.
So the 24th we made everything public, and then the 25th we released the prison stuff.
Okay. So would the stuff that you were talking about be in there or somewhere else?
Oh, the stuff I'm talking about is if you look at the link that we sent, the Now a Victory Lap link, that's going to be some late Keys files. Those are the prison files.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, you're okay. I'm sorry. I'm with you now. Okay. Because there's a lot of other stuff than just the one PDF we looked at. There's a ton of other stuff, right? We got audio. Yeah. Okay. Should have had this.
Yeah, I just thought it would be interesting to take a closer look at the cell photos.
Okay. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. Sorry. I should share my thing. I'm a little all over the place, a little verklempt. Here we go. So late Keys files. I have like 50 tabs open, of course, as per usual. So I think this is about where we were left off at one point. If you want to direct me at all, if I'm in the right place, I wish I could hand it over to you. Yeah, I'm sure you could just spin through all this stuff.
Oh
my God, what is that?
Was kind of looking at stuff that people had said about it, just the amount of blood that there was, and like how a guard could not see that. And in the interview, when the guy interviewing the correctional officer said that when he walked by Keys' cell, he actually like put his hand up.
Keys did.
And like as if he was trying not to see it. He walked by the cell, put his hand up, and then put it back down.
So you're saying
to shield himself from having to look at it. And then there are a bunch of comments people left, like the COs are covering up that they ignored Keys and let him do it. That's what it sounds like. A lot of people are saying if you're trying to get justice for victims in this case, he should have been under a microscope until sentencing, which I totally agree with.
Yeah.
Someone sarcastically wrote, "What a shame," which really made me laugh because like it's a shame in the sense that like he can't give more evidence, but like I also get the sentiment of like this guy was like garbage. So yeah,
there's a couple questions about the suicide note, and I think this might be it. I mean, there's a big bloody thing right here. Is that the suicide note, or do we know anything about what this
is the note? So they like cleaned it up. I'm pretty sure this is the same one. There were a bunch of pages. So that may or may not be the exact note. But
okay. Yeah, there's a few different. I'm just like reacting to the volume and like just the nature of the blood. It almost looks like it's
like congealed.
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty intense. And okay, so here we see what looks to be a razor put in an implement. One thing I wanted to clean up is that I think what you're saying is that there's a talk that somebody like another prisoner saw a prison guard walking by Keys' cell and the prison guard was covering his. I just wanted to.
The guy who, I don't know if he was an officer or part of the investigation, but whoever was interviewing, the police officer interviewing the CO said that he saw it in the monitor.
Okay.
So he watched the CO walk by Keys' cell and shield himself from like looking inside. And he was like, I just thought that was really odd that you did that.
Yeah.
And the CO was like, well, I don't know.
Huh.
don't know why I did that. Like, he just basically the entire time he kind of plays dumb. I also find it interesting that like Keyes wrote on a lot of people were asking about what he wrote on the
Right.
cell wall.
Yeah, right.
If the only blood was mine, I would spill it.
Yep, I got it right here, but it's kind of like maybe I can zoom in on.
There's a closer up version, I think,
yep.
of it.
Yeah, I know.
But like, if you look at the way the blood's smeared on the wall, like where would it say 54? I'm wondering that because like it's just weird. But yeah, if the only blood was mine, I would spill it. I'm so curious about like, or a lot of people were curious about, what that means and why he wrote it. And I'm like, I think that this guy truly, I know people want more and like they want a deeper like answer. I think it's because it's so messed up that people want some kind of closure. And I don't think that's possible. I think this is like a sick psychopath who is crazy. Like, we're not dealing with a right mind here. Like, just the scene of his death is like embodies the kind of sickness that we're looking at. So sometimes it's like there's probably not a deeper meaning. He probably literally meant that. He's like, if I can't kill anyone else, I'm killing myself. Like, that's the bloodlust. I'm going to finger paint in blood now. Goodbye, world. Like, I just think he's pathetic. And yeah.
It seems to be a hazard of the true crime genre where people will speculate from their comfortable couch, like what some crazy person was thinking when they did whatever. And you're like, yeah, maybe not. The other thing that I was going to say about that phrasing is it almost seems like it could have been from like the Bible or something. I don't know, just the way it is. I don't know, kind of archaic or something.
Let's ask ChatGPT.
Maybe a Slayer song.
Yeah, it could be like a lyric from
Raining
like
Blood.
That would make a lot of sense because
seriously,
it's like a sort of somebody else's interpret. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. And just to update you on the Susan Carr news, they do the auction deals. Sorry, I lost my place here. We have some good questions, so I want to get to them. But monthly, I believe, was the story there. Okay. Or is his creepy poem Ode to Death the only suicide note? That's a comment by Outdoor Loser 4340. And so that had also been interpreted as a suicide note, yes?
A lot of people say it's his suicide note because that's the paper that was in his cell when he was found. But we don't know when he wrote it. Like, he could have written that months in advance. Like, the little the little skull drawings he did? Apparently, those were found, like, the FBI said they're found under his bed when he died. But apparently he'd done those a few months in advance. So this is just stuff he's been doing. And he also tried to kill himself a few months before this, too. So I think there's like a timeline here that's not fully filled out from the FBI or even like his prison files. And I think also there's like he was spending a lot of time alone all day for months. So he was definitely doing something. And like you can see in his effects in that little like tub of his belongings, there's a lot of papers in there. There's a lot of other stuff. Like, we don't know how long he'd been working on this. We don't know. So I think people call it the suicide note, but I think his suicide note was actually this. I don't think it was the paper. I think it was this crap that he finger painted.
I think another thing that like we lose sight of is that when people are like in solitary confinement, like their mental health often declines. So it's another thing that could make it difficult to try to interpret.
Yeah. Like,
Susan,
imagine.
I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
No, I interrupted you.
No. I was just going to get to another question, so we should proceed.
I agree with you. It's a really, really important point. This guy was already fucked up. Now put him in solitary for 10 months.
Right.
Like, what is that going to do to his brain? Do you know what I mean? So, like, is there a deeper meaning? Probably not. One
of the most fucked up humans to ever live. And then he gets to jail. Susan asked a good question that we didn't really address yet. How did he get a razor in there? There's supposedly a sign on his door that said no razors.
Yeah, the sign on the door that said, "Do not give this man a razor." I'm so curious about that because
Oh,
I don't think I thought that it was on his door at the time, but I think that he
uh,
was put on suicide watch months before, and I think that he tried to commit suicide months before this, like the first time. I don't know if that note was even on his door, but what we know from the interviews is that there's a list of people who get electric razors and people who don't, who
mm,
get like the actual razor. And like the interview with the inmate, he was saying that like no one looked at the list or cared. So they probably saw his name on the list but like didn't care. And
right.
just he said every morning they go to you and they ask if you want to take a shower and if you need a razor. And if you say yes, they're supposed to give you the razor the of like the list that you're on. And I think they just gave him a regular razor. Like I
I
really think that if it wasn't on purpose, it was gross negligence.
Mm.
Like I think they were like, this guy's a loser. He's a sick
in
serial killer freak. Who cares?
career, I've happened to have worked with 2 retired correctional officers, and based on my conversations with both of them, it basically confirms what my lovely wife just said, which is that they don't care that much. They think of these people the same way we do, maybe even worse than we do, because they have to interact with them every day. I was just a few days ago having a conversation with one of the 2 gentlemen that I've worked with who's in corrections, and he was telling me a story about losing his temper with an inmate who was basically every day this guy would threaten to kill him. And he said after a couple months of that, one day it just crossed him the wrong way and he lost his temper, burst out of the box, went into the guy's cell, closed the door behind him, and basically said, "What's up? What are we doing? I heard you want to you tell me every day you want to kill me. What are we doing?" And that kind of gives you a, if
Yeah.
somebody was threatening you every day, would you? Yeah, sure. Here's your razor.
You know, it's interesting that the correctional officer said that a lot of guys would mess with the COs, but Keys didn't. And he was like really quiet and kept to himself.
Hmm.
But everyone knows why he's there. It's in the press. You got the FBI interviewing him. He gets his own special little cell. Like there's a top bunk there, and there's not another person in the cell. Like he's alone. And everyone knew he was like a serial killer. Even the inmate, I think he said this if I recall, but like that the serial killers are looked at differently because even though if you commit a violent crime and you're in prison, you still see a serial killer and you're like, okay, but that guy's crazy. Yeah. So like there's an othering that even the worst of the worst violent criminals do to serial killers. They're like, yeah, I know I'm like a terrible person, but like he's really crazy. So like there's like a differentiating thing that happens with them.
Yeah.
And like people, like they're all locked in this box. The way that they must view someone like Keys is like,
yeah, it's like the littlest thing can like set off a huge, it's they're like caged in their no quarter, nowhere to retreat to. JMass 8895 was just speculating that he may have wanted to give a final send off to the FBI for having them do a wild goose chase, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
Susan, he apparently Keys was a fan of ICP. Well, that will maybe reveal something. Is that true? Was he down?
He loved ICP. A bunch of his military buddies said that, and they have that song called "If I Were a Serial Killer."
Oh yeah,
which is so I hadn't heard it before. I like when I read that he liked ICP, I was like, well, I guess I'll take one for the team and go listen to their music.
They suck
So
out loud.
that was fun.
Yeah. They're interesting guys, but like I don't think they were really into that stuff. But it was sort of like there was a minor genre. I was a big hip hop head back in the day, but everybody hated Insane Clown Posse except for people that liked them. So it was a weird thing.
They're kind of like they're much more successful, but they're kind of like a rap version of the Misfits or something.
Yeah, it's a good analogy. They have like their own weird band of travelers, but yeah, like the music isn't like. I don't even think Juggalos like ICP because they just suck.
They have a huge, crazy festival every year. I just want to. It's not just a few travelers. It's they have like a festival in their own right that draws tens of thousands of people every year.
What is it?
The Gathering of the Juggalos.
Gathering, yeah, every year. It's
I thought
like
that was a joke.
Shithole in Ohio.
No, it's a real thing. There's a documentary on it.
That's a real festival.
Yeah,
we've had this conversation before.
They're really interesting, like weird.
I don't remember that. I probably blacked it out.
There's the genre is called horrorcore, and anyway, I'm going to go into it. It's
go into it.
There's the whole thing like before ICP, where other guys were doing the stuff where it was like shock jock shit, is what it was.
Yeah.
And ICP weren't really into clowns or anything like that. Like they were just like two ghetto trailer dudes from Detroit that like came onto a business model that seemed to work, and they had a bunch of weird eras, but yeah, they just were I don't know, yeah, they sort of developed their own thing. It's kind of inexplicable, but it also intertwines with the wrestling world, which I think is hilarious. And it's basically
so weird.
Yeah.
Can I just say the weirdest thing to me is that Billy Corgan now like owns some kind of wrestling company. That's just so bizarre.
The lead singer of the Smashing Pumpkins.
That's so weird.
Is involved
so
in.
Random.
Yeah, it's just exactly that's the best word for it. It's just. Nuts.
I guess. I don't know if he's a fan, but at the same time, like if there's money in it, it could be a good investment. That's so random for him.
He's a real fan.
I think he's lost millions of dollars, so it's.
Yeah,
it's not a winner on either.
Love. Yeah.
That's so funny. That's so random.
Susan was asking about a picture of Keys in his tub of effects, and I think that maybe the picture that we were talking about earlier that was printed with Keys.
Yeah, I think that's at the top.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It maybe is. I don't want to speculate. I don't know who else is, but I think that's it's him and somebody else. I think. Yeah. Yeah. That one right there. Maybe. It's in the garbage.
Is that a pic of himself? That's a picture of him and his daughter.
Yeah.
And we just blurred her face because we kind of decided together. Parker and I talked about that a lot because there are other photos of her in like other evidence we've got, and we just decided like they really don't need to be. We personally didn't feel comfortable like publishing them because like why?
You're saying you're saying we, but I believe that my exact words were, I don't care.
I like went back and forth a lot on it. Yeah. I was like, should we just publish everything the way that it is? Because we care about full transparency. And I just went back and forth and like tortured myself over it. Cause like, it's a photo of a minor child. Like she's an adult now, but I guess I just basically was like why?
Yeah.
So
it's out there. Outdoor Loser appears to have done some research for us and says Google says that the words there may be related to a Slash song, Beneath the Savage Sun.
Interesting.
I'll pull that up here. Let me get back to what the word said on there so we can have it as a reference. That's really fascinating if that's true. But wow. Okay. If only the blood. Yeah. See if we can find that Slash.
You want me to read it?
Yeah.
It was a blood red summer. Yeah.
Wow.
It was a blood red summer, one I can't forget, when you took the one thing all in this world I had left. For I will remember until the end of time, if it takes forever, retribution will be mine. This I know in the end, but I wanted you to know that I won't forget. No. I don't see the, oh wait, it looks like it's at the end here. Yeah. Here, in the fields, you'll hear us crying for the ones we've lost and loved underneath the savage sun. How many killing seasons can you justify? How many dead and bleeding, only for an ivory lie? What was it, for the money, or was it for the thrill? If I could have my way, no, yours would be the blood I'd spill.
Well, no one accused Slash of being a wordsmith. What the heck? But yeah, that's interesting.
There's more here, but
Yeah.
it's not like word for word. How
But
many
it could
bleeding
be.
and how many died? The blood that they spilled cannot be justified.
Hmm.
I don't know.
The,
Yeah, I
the
mean,
part of me
So-
that loves dark comedy wishes that he had included the bracketed guitar solo.
Great. I don't know what to do with that.
Oh my God.
Do you
That's so
think,
funny.
do you think he's would have been killed in prison eventually? JMass 8895 asks.
Totally.
Probably.
I think he's so annoying that if he was put in the right situation, if they let enough people around him, he definitely would have at least gotten some fights or started them himself.
Yeah,
I
I
think,
was just laughing at JMass's comment about the Hatchet Man tattoo. Surprised Keys didn't have a Hatchet Man tattoo. That would have been so on brand, but apparently no.
it seems to me from things I've read regarding other serial killers who were murdered by inmates in prison, that there's a kind of a what's the word?
Tacit agreement, maybe.
Well,
Camaraderie.
no. I think the Gen Z or Gen Alpha kids are maybe using the word aura for this, but there's another word. But I think they get a kind of aura from killing serial killers the same way they do from killing pedophiles. So it like builds their reputation, maybe with their gang that they're affiliated with or what have you. And so, yes, I think he probably would have been killed in prison. In particular, he was, because of Samantha Koenig, and this is people will say this about inmates who kill pedophiles. A lot of inmates have kids. And so, you know, there are a lot of inmates out there who have 17, 18, 19-year-old daughters who would, you know, if you think about the experience of being in prison, they're removed from their kids. And so it makes it more poignant for them. And it's that othering that Leo was talking about earlier, where they're, you know, they're just going to make sure he can't do it to anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jeffrey Dahmer's killer certainly gained like a level of notoriety. Another super chat. That's amazing.
That's the word I was looking for, notoriety.
AZ Mesa Tom from down there in the desert. Victoria, thanks. I enjoy all the information from your videos and research. Leo, thanks. You're welcome, of course. 59 bodies for Keys. Henry Lucas claimed over 100. I think Mesa Tom is skeptical of those numbers. Yeah, I think Mesa. Go ahead.
No. It was for you.
Well, I think it was maybe just I was throwing out to the group, but I think basically everything I've seen about Lucas makes it seem like he was just taking every murder. They wanted to give him for some, I don't know, maybe again notoriety, but I'm dubious of that number for sure.
Yeah, I don't think there's evidence to support it. I mean, is it possible? Sure. Anything's possible. Is it likely? Is there evidence for it? Absolutely not.
Yeah, there's not evidence for it. And the question is this. So he's asked how many, and he says less than 12. So the FBI stated that they believe he has 11 victims. He paints 11 skulls. They think it's 11. So if he is so self-absorbed that, because the thing is, when he got arrested, he could have just kept his mouth shut. He didn't have to say anything. But he said a lot of weird shit that he shouldn't, that a lawyer would have been like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean,
like at one point he told the Texas.
I'm sorry for interrupting. People in the comments on those videos that we released, his interrogation videos, there are hundreds of comments people have left being like, don't answer questions without a lawyer. What is this?
Yeah. So on the one hand, I mean, he even said to them, he's like, man, I don't remember the quote, but Keyes told the Rangers, he was like, if they knew that about me, then they would have been knocking on my door a long time ago.
Right.
That's a really
What are you, Billy
weird thing to
Badass?
say.
Yeah.
Like, innocent people don't say that. So on the one hand, he's either completely wants to keep himself out of the press. He doesn't want any notoriety, or he does want the notoriety. That's why he talked to law enforcement. Why would he tell the police, the FBI, that he killed less than 12 people and they think it's 11? Do you know what I mean? Like, he either wants the notoriety and he's an egomaniac, or he isn't. So like a lot of people are like, well, he killed he killed hundreds of people. I'm like, there's no evidence for that. And if he did kill that many people, I think he would have bragged about it a little bit to somebody, at least one person. He would have bragged about it. But there's not a single person or agent or law enforcement officer that has said anything to that effect.
Well, or he would have at least teased it. It would have been 11 that you know about, ha ha ha, or you'll never know how many. It would be stuff like that. It wouldn't be.
You need to leave some sort of devious serial killer clues for us.
The only person I heard say it had been talking to TCBS. And he said, well, we think it's 11 people at least in America. So then TCBS is like, well, we think he's wrong about that. We think it's a lot more. And that means he only killed 11 people in America and killed other people internationally. And I'm just like, okay, again, there is not any evidence though. I think people, because he's so horrific and awful, people want him to be worse. And I'm like, he's bad enough already. Like,
do you want to share our and I could go either way.
Yeah.
Do you want to share our sort of TCBS story?
Oh,
that developed.
Don't tease me.
Over the month. You both know what I'm talking about, because I've talked to.
Oh, you mean the Somewhere in the Pines?
Oh yeah.
Well, they're related.
Right?
They're produced by his production company, that either or. Whatever.
It's not even Elliott Smith album, either or.
Yeah, if you want to. Sorry, that confused me, because I think of them as being different.
Okay, so I have a fun. Well, I don't know if fun's the word, but I have a story to share. So first we got emailed by Leo, and Leo's email was very professional, very well written, and very courteous. And Leo and I became fast friends, and here we all are chatting. A couple weeks later, we also got an email from Somewhere in the Pines, which is a TCBS affiliated podcast. They had seen a clip from the chat that Leo and I first had, the first one of these that we did. And they decided that they were going to shoot their shot too. And so they sent us an email. The email that they sent was sent to me, but addressed to Viktoria. They got the quote from my conversation with Leo wrong. I was saying that we weren't sure if we were going to finish the free cut release of the documentary. And they interpreted that to mean that we might not finish the documentary at all, even though it's been out for about a year. I think a little over a year, if I'm remembering our release correctly. They did not bother to go look at our press kit, which is available on our website for literally anyone to go see. It would have taken 30 seconds, 60 seconds to go look. And you can infer what you like from that story, but that's pretty much how I view the, I don't know what to call it, the skill level of the group of people that we're discussing. If you can't be bothered to go check out a press kit of someone who you're emailing, who you want to collaborate with, what kind of a job are you doing when you look through evidence and come up with theories? I can't imagine it's a very thorough one, but that's just my opinion. And you're welcome to draw your own conclusions from the story that I've just shared.
I think true crime communities draw like such a wide, but like very specific archetypes of people, and that, yeah, as we discussed, it's like the longtime Zodiac researcher. That's what I think of it as, you know.
By the way, since I just told that story, and I wrote out a long reply to them that I never ended up sending, but since I'm talking about it, and since they've watched these clips before, I have some professional courtesy to offer them, which is when you're writing an email and you're not sure who's going to be answering it, the proper way to address your email is to whom it may concern. You do not ever want to send an email that you address to the wrong person when you're trying to work with someone. It's almost never going to lead to you collaborating with the person that you want to collaborate with. That's it.
Yeah. It's such a such a grimy world at times, you know. What can you say?
I think it's funny.
Brush the dirt off the shoulder, keep going, you know. Yeah. It is very evocative of a certain experience that we've all had in working in this world.
When Parker showed me the email, I was just confused because I was like, the documentary has been out for like almost a year. Like that was just confusing to me. And I just thought like, because I used to be a fan of TCBS, and I was like, I thought Josh was like great, and like I don't feel that way anymore. But it was just kind of like disappointing, because I think of like, if you're researching people, you know, you're making all the trouble to like make a podcast and like do research. Like, I guess I just would expect, like, if I was emailing them, how would I do it? And like, my first thing is look at their website to see if any information's updated. So when you're talking to someone, you know what their most recent work looks like. And that's just like a basic level of due diligence that I myself would do. And so it was just kind of disappointing to like get an email where like if you go to crimecult.com, it shows right there. You can watch the full documentary, full 6-hour, 3-part documentary right now if you subscribe.
It's just really bad.
So that tells me that like, why would you want to collaborate with somebody if you don't even bother looking at their website? Like, it was just kind of disappointing.
As a creator, though, like stooping to the level to complain about like that amount of amazing free content, or it's just, I don't know, it just seems kind of antithetical to what, I don't know, what they should be doing, you know.
I have to share this too. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe this crosses the bounds of professionalism, but part of the email that I found super funny is they wrote that they thought Viktoria might want to go on and discuss her future. And as I joked to her, I was like, the fuck do we have to talk about our future?
Really ticks all the boxes of the true crime slime ball, doesn't it?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, they were like,
fucking shit.
Yeah, like we could discuss what your future might look like or something, which I thought was weird.
Oh, somebody else
like not being affiliated with TCBS. That's my response that I'm now making publicly. That's what our future looks like if you end up watching this. It looks like not being affiliated with your affiliates.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's anyone who's like watched our stuff or like listened to our podcast, or sorry, watch our YouTube stuff or our live streams, knows how we feel about that podcast. And it went from like wanting to work with them to wanting nothing to do with them, like the exact opposite, just from our experience in the community. And like I was, I guess, friendly, or I talked to a couple people on the research team like probably a year or two ago, and they're super nice people. I have nothing bad to say about them. I thought they were great. So they probably aren't watching this, but yeah, it's always weird because I really liked them, but then I'm just like, how you guys are so good at research. How can you like stand by and like deal with this crap. Like,
Has it
and
occurred
I
to you
don't
that
know.
maybe they're not as good at the research as you think they are?
Yeah, maybe.
I know I'm more
I
willing
at
to
least
sit
think
on
one of
shows
them
to,
is one of them definitely is good at research, and the other one, it became questionable the more I talked to him. But like, I don't know. It's truth. The truth is always the most important thing, and you
Yeah,
should always that should be your goal
I thought about
to
seeing this
be
last time.
truthful.
We briefly touched on that show because I only watched I tried to listen to it, and I kind of had like an immediate revulsion to the guy, and he also just had a bunch of inaccuracies. But I think it's because I've lived in Seattle for like 4 or 5 years, and it just is like the perfect archetype of a certain Seattle douche. Seattle's known as having the Seattle freeze. People are very unfriendly there. And he seems like the kind of guy that would like hang out at record stores and tell you why what you're buying is trash. That guy.
No, I feel that. The thing that bothers me the most, is talking down to the audience and basically moralizing everything. Like, he handholds people through the podcast. He makes things up, and then he talks down to people. Like, there was this one.
Sorry to interrupt, but do you guys want to go on his booze cruise?
No.
Oh my God. I forgot that he does that.
Yeah.
So awful.
Or it's like a wine trip or something. Is it a cruise?
Oh my God.
I don't know.
That's fucking crazy.
If it's at a vineyard, it's still a booze cruise.
It sounds like the third ring of hell.
That does sound terrible.
But it fits in with your Seattle comparison is what made me think of that. Because it's that same kind of guy who's I've known
a lot of that guy. There's a lot of that guy in Seattle.
Yes, there is.
It's a great city, but it's yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we've got
that was great. That was crazy.
I also just was going to say that I thought that Outdoor Loser has just been cracking me up all night, and he asked about if it was a Tom Webster Delphi fan. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I know Delphi's a case. Do you guys know what that is?
Is that the name of that behavior analysis guy who was that him? I don't remember his name.
Let me Google it.
Tom Webster. Tom Webster?
Yeah, Delphi. Maybe he has a podcast or something.
Explore the worlds of comedy, true crime, and cooking with Tom Webster.
This sounds like it could be cringe funny though. Like I could be into that.
I wonder if he gets the same kind of hate that you got for your eating videos.
I don't know, but it's funny. His YouTube, Tom Webster.
I must watch this at some point. Is he funny or is he funny like cringe? Because he looks cringe to me, but maybe I'm wrong.
He looks
Oh, he gets hate. Okay. Sorry, I'm having a one.
That's so funny to me because I've been joking about that.
I have to go deliver this key to this lovely couple from the Navy who cool. I'm just going to congratulate here because they're now subscribing to my channel. So congratulations on your new WRX, guys. I hope you love it. I hope it treats you well for a long time. And I'm glad that we were able to give you some good advice to hopefully help you build a better future for yourself.
It's a great car.
And congratulations again on your new car. I'll be right back.
That's so funny. I just subscribed to Tom.
Yeah. What? I'm intrigued. I'll say that just by looking at the visual here that I'm seeing.
I just subscribed to him.
Yeah.
I really I don't understand the hate. I don't. People, it's like if you're into true crime, you have to be really somber and upset all the time. And I'm like, that is not me. I'm not gonna act like that. Okay. And it's so funny the number of people who do who mix food and true crime or who mix comedy and true crime.
Yeah.
It's
It's I don't really mind what anybody does on it. It's just
it's how they do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just have a sort of guess if I don't like it, I won't really watch it. Sometimes it's fun to like make fun of stuff, but I have like a really sensitive like secondhand embarrassment thing to where like if I'm saying that I would want to check this out, but if it really was cringe, I just would like do something else because I can't take it. It makes me crawl out of my skin, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I
'Cause
did
feel bad
subscribe
for
to Tom Webster, but now I need to go actually watch his stuff.
like
So we'll see.
I just feel like that's been me so many times. Like I've been, you know, making weird shit on the internet and you know, being lost in the that's so interesting that it's really funny like hearing people's like comments on this because it's like making me want to listen to it more and then less and then more and then less. He's actually does okay. Well, maybe I should check him out. I'm not really familiar with the case. And do you know the Delphi case at all?
No.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I heard that it's like really super involved, but I really don't know. Okay, the guy on the bridge who was caught on video. Okay, in 2017. Oh, and then this same gentleman, Tom Webster, did
Parker wrote about it.
research on the Mara Murray case, which is, I believe, the case in. Oh, I don't even want to say because I don't know for sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
My problem is I get like super invested in like one case and then kind of lose track of everything else in my life, the world.
Lot.
Yeah.
Well, like it's weird too because there are true crime cases that I'm like, I have literally no interest in. I don't know why. There's like there's like my brain, and like if I hear of a certain case, something lights up and I become obsessed. Or I have literally no interest, never going to watch it, never going to read about it. Wow, that sounds terrible. Oh, that's really unfortunate. And that's as far as I go into it. I don't understand the process. What makes me obsessed with a certain case over another, I don't know.
Yeah, I was just thinking about like what it is. I just wanted to say because Arizona Mesa Tom wants to go watch some football. There's never going to be a paywall here. You can catch it whenever. I don't mess around with rewind or anything like that. So yeah, it'll be up this VOD or whatever you call it, the live stream. But yeah, I ask myself that all the time because I think it should be like at least somewhat revealing about like who it is that gets drawn into certain cases or like what it is about me that's so messed up for not, I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's not enough time in the world for all the things I'm interested in. Like, yeah, I don't know. That's why I think it's so funny that this guy does comedy stuff.
Yeah.
Too. Because people think it's the opposite of true crime, but I'm like, it's the same mind. Like the interest in the dark stuff, I feel like you're more likely to have like a good sense of humor about it.
Yeah.
Because like you have to.
And you know, like in all the professions that revolving around it, there's like a gallows humor that is just endemic.
If you meet like guys in the military, they're usually really funny.
Yes.
Like a bunch of infantry guys together, it's like you will like piss yourself laughing. Yeah. And my whole family is military, and I think there's like a level of like, I don't know what it is, but
that's why you were over in the Middle East. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you kind of like get their whole deal, it's they're really like the best guys. I kind of feel bad because I just made this video talking about how law enforcement are all psychopaths. I didn't really say that, but I mean, I wonder how that would apply to.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah. I'm just curious how that transfers over the military in your experience. I mean, there's obviously some sort of affinity just because they go into one another profession, military into law enforcement and vice versa.
Yeah.
It's probably tough to say. Yeah.
I think it's interesting because like, are you an 18-year-old kid who no shirt, no shoes, walks in, now you get health insurance, base housing allowance, an entire life and a career, and they'll pay for your education too if you want to become an officer? Like, are you in that situation, or do you like love death and you want to be an infantry guy with a license to kill?
Yeah.
Like which is it? And then also, how psychopathic are you? Like, did you go in as an officer and now your goal is to be like a career general? Like, what do you want to do? Or do you want to be like a fighter pilot? Like my dad's a fighter pilot.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like there's a mental level there where
Yeah,
like
it'd be
that's a
pretty sharp. Yeah,
lot of work. So, because it's like for psychopathic people, there's also the esteem of it, but there's also like a massive like learning curve and level of work that you have to do. Like a lot of people are going to wash out and get cut. Like they're just not going to make it. So,
I'm
like,
not, I wasn't quite sure if you were talking about serial killers or in the military or maybe both. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
I mean, I
you're
guess
talking
I
about the
don't know.
military. You're talking about the military, but yeah,
Yeah, mostly the military, but like, I
it just
mean, for
strikes me
instance,
that
can you
you said
imagine like a
something.
serial killer, what that would do to their ego if they
Yeah,
tried to join the military at 18 and like washed out?
yep. It just strikes me that when you're talking about like how committed serial killers have to be to like this weird thing that they do, you said, it was a sort of similar thing where it's like their whole life's work essentially. And a number of serial killers have commented about their serial killing, like in that sort of vein. Susan had an interesting comment about, she's more interested in their thought process. I think I am too, and one thing I wanted to say, Susan, is you talked about how he said he was jazzed when he's hunting and killing people. And there's some really interesting um, comments from the butcher Baker, another Alaskan serial killer, Hansen, saying that he really didn't enjoy killing people. It was the hunt, which is, I think, fairly revealing.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think it depends if they're like sexual sadists or not.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are doing it so that they can like, you know,
Hmm.
like what is their ultimate goal? And I think they can like multiple aspects of it.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah, I think about
they're all
doing.
different.
Hmm. That's right. I wonder like how much it is like they exist on a continuum, as Philip Fector MMA was talking about, or whether or not there really are specific groupings. Because I'm always kind of skeptical of like these groupings that the FBI makes up, like disorganized, organized. It just seems like they have pretty limited utility. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so like strange to me. Like all the different categories, because at the end of the day, how do we really know? Like you're getting the information from the least trustworthy people possible.
Yeah. Right. Which
And
is
like,
what DB was saying.
I don't know, like, are they an organized killer, but they don't like to clean their room? Like, what does
Yeah.
that mean? Like, I know I'm making a joke, but
No, it's
like with Keys, like you could literally see photos of what his house looked like. And like he didn't even have money for a lawyer.
yeah.
Like he couldn't afford anything, but then he's somehow like highly meticulous.
The most meticulous.
Yeah, the most meticulous serial killer ever
Yeah.
the FBI has ever seen. And yet he's been captured because he did the dumbest thing
Yeah.
possible. Like the way he was caught was so dumb.
Yeah.
I'm like, I do not believe that he thought you couldn't track ATM cards. Like, I don't believe that.
Yeah. It's not like it was like 2001 or something like that. Even that would be kind of silly, but yeah,
Like, you're
2012.
smart enough to park your car away from the ATM camera. Well, I
Hmm.
guess he didn't because it showed it. He thought he was parking it away, and then like it showed the car in the very back. But it's like, I don't know. He's aware that there's an ATM camera. Like, how does he? I don't know.
There's so many things that are in the profiles that are mentioned in Mindhunter that are like, God, they just are so interesting to think about, like what they just make no sense. They're like non sequiturs, like probably 5 or 6 different profiles in the book. John Douglas predicts which color the serial killer's car will be, not just the make and model, but it'll be a red Volkswagen Beetle, which is a popular choice.
That's interesting. Yeah,
He
I
never
think some
explains
of that.
why. He never explains why. So it's like, anyway, I'm thinking about doing that as the next like longer form video, because a lot of people are like trying to say like, oh, his work might still have value even if he's, or they think that profiling has value. But I mean, I don't know, maybe on some level it does, not based on my reading, but I think when they just see it all laid out bare, it's pretty clear that it was just Cracker Jacks. It was just, it's not really, yeah, can't really make sense of it. So I don't know.
I think
That's what
there are
I
like educated guesses you can make. that makes sense,
Sure.
but it's
Yeah.
like the red car. It's like, oh, it's because it's flashy and he has an ego. I'm like, okay, but if he also has a brain and doesn't want to get caught, he might go with like a common color card. Like
Yeah.
you're
He-
making a big assumption about the way that he thinks based on like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Sure. Yeah. And but the
because a
thing
lot
that
of the
like,
ego games serial killers are playing out are in private with the
right.
victim. Like the only
Right.
people there was this interesting wow, why can't I remember his name? He's
Hmm.
this like I don't remember. He talks about like cluster B personality stuff,
Hmm.
but this guy talks about like the intimacy of death and why serial killers have like relate interpersonal relationship problems and attachment style problems,
Hmm.
and that death and experiencing death with another person is like extremely intimate to them. And
Hmm.
so like that is how they're able to get like an emotional connection with another human being,
Hmm.
which is interesting because I don't think serial killers would ever talk about that, but like I
Hmm.
thought that was interesting.
It seems like kind of along the lines of there's actually a third book that he's mentioned that it was really meaningful to him. I didn't really mention anything because it's a fictional book by Dean Koontz called Intensity. Is that, I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but it has the passage in there where it talks about like the apotheosis of feeling that the serial killer gets. It's a really weird book, but I can kind of see why Keyes likes it because it describes a serial killing from the perspective of a serial killer and the victim. It's, yeah, very weird.
Interesting. I read Intensity and I watched the movie and I actually think it's really
Oh,
good. Like I
there's
really
a
like that
movie?
book. Yeah, there's a movie
Huh.
that came out. I can't remember when, but I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was good.
I'm sure.
And I really
Yeah.
like the book. I tried to read the other book that
Dark Dreams.
Keys
Dark Dreams by Roy
no, I've
Hazelwood.
read that. I
Okay.
read Dark Dreams and Mindhunter, but I tried to read Mr. Murder
Oh,
by Dean Koontz. Apparently, Keys had a copy of it.
how interesting.
It
Huh.
sucks. It's so bad. It's like not good at all. Like I hated it. I didn't finish it because it was not good. Which is too bad because Intensity is such a good book and Mr. Murder is like garbage.
That's
Just my
interesting.
personal opinion.
Yeah, no, I definitely check it out just because I'm always interested in what Keys would have seen in something.
Like
I also think my opinion of it is obviously colored by the fact that that's why I'm reading it. You know.
maybe I could try it again. Maybe I like wasn't in a good space to like read it, but it just felt like it went on forever.
Mm.
Like it's this guy who has like amnesia and he can't remember stuff.
Mm.
So he'll be like, I think, I think on the page, and then it like
Oh no,
won't tell us what because he can't remember.
that
And
sounds
I'm like,
terrible.
this is annoying me. Like,
Mm.
spit it out, bro. Like what? But Intensity was good.
Amnesia is always kind of hack is like a plot for a book like that too. It's like, you know, kind of a warning sign. DB had another interesting comment about, I should put this on screen, with Keys was unique to me in the way that he was always on, always looking, but he seemed very disciplined. He wouldn't pull the trigger if he thought it was too risky. One thing I was going to mention is that in Hazelwood stuff, he talks about how like a commonality between these sexual sadists is that they have compulsive driving behaviors, which is really fascinating. So I think they're all kind of always on, but did you have any thoughts on like maybe the discipline part or?
I mean, think of it like an alcoholic or like an addict. Maybe throughout the whole day for weeks, months, years, you're always thinking like, oh my God, when am I gonna have my next drink? Okay, it's a couple hours till 5, so I can like stop at a liquor store on the way home. And then when I get home, I can have this much. And then I'm gonna go out with friends so I can budget for this much alcohol. You're always thinking about it, but you're not gonna drink at 10 a.m. at the office because you're gonna get fired. So like it's the same with Keys. He's always thinking about this thing he's obsessed with, but he's not going to do it because he's going to get caught. Like So like that's how I think of it. I think that he's always thinking about it. He's like, oh wow, that look at that lake. I wonder how deep that lake is. But he's like driving and his daughter's in the back seat. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think he's always thinking of it. Or he's like driving through a small town and he's like, huh, I wonder how big this town is. Like, how quickly could I drive from one end to the other of this town? And like, what kind of bank do they have? I wonder how much money the bank carries and how many tellers they have. I wonder if this bank has like bulletproof glass in it. But like, he's going to his mom's house. So like, you're always thinking of it like an addict would, any addict would.
What Victoria just described is what made me, in the previous discussion that we had, say that to me, he's not an organized anything.
Right. It's like a dry drunk kind of, you know?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Very, very much so.
And this chat has really given me like a bunch of great ideas because DB was just talking about how, you know, he thinks Hazelwood's the most realistic. I agree. But he suggesting comparing and contrasting the books and how they tell the same BS stories is like exactly what I should do because that's like, yeah, anyway, that's brilliant. Thank you for that tip. DB, another fugitive from justice there. Would you guys ever get into the DB Cooper case, Dan Cooper, properly? The guy that hijacked the airplane from Portland and got away with like 50 grand?
I'm a little familiar with the story, but I've never done some kind of a deep dive on it.
Yeah, probably West Coast. Yeah,
I've like read a little bit about it, but then they could never find the guy. So part of me was like, he got away with the money. Like, I don't know. But they never found, and then like over the years, people have come forward and been like, it was my dad.
Right.
And like, so like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
I kind of,
but
no. It was random. I think the last time I read about that case, it stuck out in my mind because I read about it when the whole tiger thing came out, and I was reading about Carol Baskin's husband disappearing. And for some reason, DB Cooper popped in my head, and I went back and like read about his case like for like an hour, and then that's it. Like I really didn't deep dive into anything.
That story wasn't that also part of the plot of Justified? Wasn't DB Cooper part of the plot of that show?
Oh, I don't know. I've heard of the show. I haven't seen it, Justified, but
I think she and I watched it together. I'm not sure if I'm remembering that correctly.
Yeah, he shows up in a lot of stuff because like one of the big reasons why he's still sort of current is because people are always speculating about who he could have been. So yeah, it's a really interesting case. There's not a whole lot of evidence out there. DB again, talking about how he thought it was significant that the story that he's told about how he was staking out that person and it was like inches away from them in the rain. That was definitely a very memorable scene in American Predator. So I'm trying to remember what that was in reference to. Maybe the fact that he was anyway.
Oh yeah, he said that happened, or I don't know if he said it. I don't remember.
In that he was disciplined, so that was maybe an example of his discipline. Yeah, I wonder.
I don't know. Is that disciplined?
Yeah, I don't think
someone's getting out of their car, and it's raining, and they're running to the door so they can get out of the rain, and you reach out to grab them and like miss. Like, why even tell that story? Like,
organized.
Like, I just think like I don't know. What a weird story, and creepy for sure. But he said that happened, or apparently, I don't remember where I read this. Was it American Predator? That it happened the night that he was getting Bill and Lorraine Courier. But then I actually, after I like got updated files and stuff, I read that he wasn't trying to take a person. He was just trying to get a car. So he was trying to hijack a car so he could use the car to go take a couple.
Oh.
And then he ended up just using Bill and Lorraine Courier's car. So I'm like, I don't know. And I also looked up the historical weather record, and it was not raining.
You're so on it. You're like, well, that's
one second. Even raining.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I think it rained earlier in the day and then it rained again like the next afternoon. So it couldn't have happened a couple hours before that because it wasn't raining. So I think he either like misremembered it or I don't know, because sometimes when different stories come out, it like muddies the waters of like what the actual record is.
Right. Yeah, it just left me to wonder, like, if Keys was a ticking time bomb and like it was inevitable, or if there's some like specific series thing that happened to him that made him just turn into like a shitbox at some point, because it seems like it had been a fairly long period where he was not really working or doing anything. Like he seemed like he had like some sort of major depression, which you sort of wanted to speculate what the reason would be for a serial killer, you know?
I think depression is very, very commonly comorbid with psychopathy. I think there's with all the personality disorders, there's a very common empty feeling that they all tend to deal with. That
anhedonic, where you just can't feel pleasure, because you're like redlining it so much with that weird shit that you're doing or whatever.
Yeah, nervous system is so jacked up that it needs too much serotonin and dopamine to effectively maintain any kind of an emotional balance.
Yeah, a lot of stars talk about, or like rock stars talk about that, how the high of being in like an arena is so much that when they get off stage and it's like dead silence and they have to go back to like a hotel room, they don't want to do it. It's too extreme. So then they go and party and get like fucked up and try to like, I don't know, get some groupies to hang out with them. Like anything they can do to keep it going because it's too extreme of a change. So I could see how like, and they don't even, they're out in the open, so they don't even have to really hide it. But someone like Keys, who's doing stuff that he has to hide, he can't just like slowly segue off of it. He has to like immediately go home to like his kid and his girlfriend and act fucking normal. So
this is a little bit of an aside now, but I'm pretty sure that's what this song I Want to Be Sedated is about.
Yeah. 29 hours ago. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's been 3 hours. That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm ready to
whoa.
Take lift off whenever you guys are ready. It just made me think of how, and one thing I thought John Douglas had something interesting was he talked about the difference between a MO, which is like your typical way of entry or something like that, that can change, versus the signature, the thing that the serial killer is impelled to do, like the sexual act or whatever. And that seems like there's like a weird resonance with what rock stars do, because they seem to, or like athletes, like they come back despite all evidence that they're washed, I don't know. It's really interesting.
That's so funny. I mean, I think it becomes your identity and your obsession and your whole life. So if you've just been doing something for years, it's hard to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, even serial killers, they're not famous at the time when they're doing anything. They get famous after. But like for someone like an athlete or a musician who's like famous and they're famous for like 2 decades, it's like, what else? There's all these eyes on them and pressure to like do more. Or like have a comeback, or like they have a whole like system behind them that wants to make money off them. They have like a whole host of employees and like businesses. So there's a lot of pressure for them to like do something that maybe they probably might suck at. I don't know.
There's a great Mitch Hedberg joke about that, where he says that I forget the setup for the joke. It's something like being famous or being in Hollywood or being funny, one of the three. He says is weird because people always want to ask you what else you can do. So it's like, okay, you're funny, but can you write? So that's kind of that progression.
Right.
Yeah. So do you guys have any plans for future stuff you wanted to talk about, or I don't know if we're pretty deep into this one, so I just want to throw that out there because I had a vague memory of maybe something like that. I don't know if memory is much.
I don't know.
Let's save that for not the tail end of a 3-hour podcast.
One thing I also just want to mention this is like I was talking to it briefly about I'm losing my mind, but editing shorts is like so much harder than it should be. Like changing the thumbnail nearly broke me earlier. It's like,
oh my God, why do you have to use 2 different YouTube apps? It's insane.
You can't change the thumbnail in YouTube Studio. You have to go to the actual YouTube app and hit the plus sign. It's the only way you can change the thumbnail. It makes no sense. And then after you edit it or after you post it, I don't think you can change it unless you log in on your computer.
No, you
which
can.
Is the third thing.
You can.
It's crazy.
You have to use the regular YouTube app, not YouTube Studio and not YouTube Create, which is their editing software that they made to compete with CapCut.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I was like,
figured that out accidentally.
Yeah, it made me want to cry earlier. That's all I want to say. It was just so much. I was like, what is this?
Yeah. It's a lot. Instagram just came out with an editor.
Okay. Yeah, I also used.
Great, another one.
I need to stop talking about editing because it's like ruining my life. All right. Well, yeah. I guess we'll leave it there unless you guys had anything else you wanted to wrap up. And that was a lot of fun. It went by really fast, and
yeah, it was. Thanks for having us on, Leo.
For me.
Yeah. Well, you weren't here for most of it, but next time.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll be back. I guess noon is just pretty much the time on Sunday, so that's the plan for now.
Everyone subscribe to our channels if you're not already subscribed to all 3 of them.
Go check out Crime Cult, crimecult.com.
All right. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.